Welcome everybody to HLTV Confirmed episode 16, and you are in for a blast. And I don't just mean about the events, we're going for the end game, as we've got Chad, aka Iron Man, Striker, Captain America, me as Thor, because hey, I'm a fucking god, and then Mr. Captain Marvel, or sorry, Mrs. Captain Marvel, because it most fits Prof here, the woman of our dreams for HLTV. You're the best we could get, mate, and you look good with that hair.
We are gender neutral in this space. Please take a while, like before just announcing my pronoun like that.
Oh, okay.
You are warned now. This time it's okay. Next time we'll have a talk.
Next time you'll be going to BBC, where will them
HR will deal with it. Martin does not allow for this.
There will be legal repercussions.
Already started off with a bang. But how are you guys doing? Chad, I know you've been traveling all over the shot again. Prof, you were in Sydney, right?
Correct. I managed to actually fly home, unlike someone else in this panel. So
what happened this time?
I'm leaving that to him to share his beautiful trip.
How does he always get the worst luck?
There was like a 3-hour delay leaving Sydney because of like a technical issue with the plane. And I'm okay with that because I don't want to die.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for them to fix the plane before we take off. It was like 3 to 4 hours, and then it's a 14.5-hour flight to Doha. So we get to Doha. Obviously, we've all, like, I had Heroic on my plane, I had Rops on my plane, Mihao from ESL, I had a couple of other ESL staff on there, and everyone's missed their connecting flights. So my options were I could fly to Malta, but it would take a very long time to get there. Like, I wouldn't have got there until quite late yesterday evening, not tomorrow. Or I could have just come straight to Madrid. So I was like, fuck it, there's no point. I was going to go home for 2 days. But it would only have been 1 day after the delays, so I thought I'd just come here. Fuck it, there's no point coming home. I would just come to Madrid, and it was sunny yesterday. Today's windy and a piece of shit, but it doesn't really matter. It's all good.
All good choice.
Yeah, you really do have it rough with your travel journeys, mate.
I didn't realize how long away I was going to be from home either. So like, I've been like slowly accumulating things. So it was like 2.5 weeks for Leicester, and then I went straight from Leicester to Sydney, which was like another 8 days. And then I was going to go home and I was going to do laundry. So now it's going to be a month. So yeah, it'll be a month. That's all right. A month's not too bad. That's okay. It's manageable.
You've probably done worse than a month, mate,
yeah,
I'm sure.
The most I did was like, I think almost 3 months one time.
I love how desperate you kind of starting to sound, Sponge. Oh, it's reasonable. Oh, completely.
You have to basically talk yourself into this kind of stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, let's kick into some breaking news, right? Let's get started with that. And the first one we're going to look at is Valens coming back in as the coach of Cloud9, Rambo moving aside. Now, one thing that I just want to understand is I'm down for fucking press releases and people giving us bits of information, but I wanted to know more of why he's not there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is all we've got is the most basic, like, oh yeah, he's just gone, it's changed. It's like, there's got to be a reason, because Rambo, yes, he's a legend from the 1.6 days. He's obviously got plenty of experience. Everyone's going to talk nicely because that's what they do. No one's actually going to say the truth. But I really want to know what the fuck went on. Like, why?
I just wonder what's happening there, because like for the past, I don't know how much, because it's been like since before the major, since Rambo was in from like E-League, basically like their first event.
Yeah.
In 2019, that Rambo has been like kind of like co-coaching with Valens, and Valens kind of like showing him the way. Okay. And all the time we kept hearing about how Valens is just like trying to transition into this other role in the team, while also trying to help out Rambo and make him like comfortable with the role that he's in, and just like showing him how to work with the team or whatever it was. And all of a sudden all of that just like backtracks and everything breaks apart. I have no idea what happened there. My guess, if I had to hazard a guess, I would assume that maybe Valens, when he actually transitioned into the role and Rambo was the only one with the team, suddenly the team realized that this was not really working, that he wasn't bringing on what he was supposed to or what they expected of him. And so that's what happened there. I'm not sure, because that to me is like the only logical explanation, given that they literally said nothing on the matter of why Rambo is even leaving.
So Valens is a very smart person, right? He was, as far as I'm aware, he used to work for Tesla, and he was meant to be doing some stuff for Cloud9, which is more of like a coding type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's been on the cards for a very long time. Even after they won the major, it's rumored that they asked a different person to coach Cloud9 after they won the major. So since then, they've always been searching for a different coach, because Valens was always meant to transition into this role, doing this other thing within Cloud9. So the Rambo thing, I don't know. Maybe it could have been a situation where he wanted to. This is me completely theorizing. I have no idea. Cloud9 here. Maybe I'll ask them. But theorizing about like the idea that maybe Rambo wanted to have more control over the team, and that wasn't the case. I don't know. There's so many different options there, but it's a bit of a weird one. But the fact that Valens is just so he's like, yeah, fine, I'll just go back into that role. It's kind of strange. Like, you thought that maybe he would have been spending a bit more time on something else. So maybe when I see him over the next couple of days, I'll bring it up. Maybe we can get an answer out of it.
I mean, from what I understand, from what I understand, he actually did transition into this data science, whatever type role that he had in Cloud9 already. Like, he was already in that position full time, as far as I know, from what I understood. So for him to just suddenly completely turn this around, I don't know, man. It must have been like the team having an issue with Rambo. I don't think, or Rambo just like suddenly not being able to do the job. I don't know what else could have happened that made them just completely backtrack on this whole decision.
I wonder if maybe he just fixed whatever he's supposed to be fixing or doing whatever. I have no idea about code.
No clue. Man. That's the thing. Like, there's basically no information that we got. We just got told, yeah, Valens is back in, Rambo's bye-bye, and that's all that we got.
I mean, considering there has been nothing said, it can be good.
Like, yeah, exactly.
It can be good. It has to be something along the lines of like, the players really don't like him, they think he doesn't bring enough value to the team or whatever. Because otherwise, I don't see them not saying anything. Has to be something along those lines for me. And we know that like Valens is very close to like Automatic. They used to play, and like the rest of the team, they've been together. Like Rush is the only one that's still there. So he doesn't really have some sort of a like allegiance left to the whole roster. But at least those two guys have been there for a lot. And maybe if they want him back, he's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But it is just continuation of Cloud9 being Cloud9, and just a constant mess. Like they couldn't change a player, so let's change the coach. Let's just do something. It's like a kid with ADD. You just have to do something. Doesn't matter if it makes sense or doesn't. I have to do something. And something whatever. We'll see. Yeah, we'll probably find out more about it now at Blast with Cloud9 being there.
I hope we do get to find something out, right? Because like Rambo, at least how I perceive him, and the little I've spoken to him, is at least he's smart on how he understands the game. But I guess it takes a little bit more than that to fit in as a coach. But we'll continue to theory craft it as it be. As the next one we're going to look at is the whole kind of craziness that's going on with the ex-Space Soldiers roster. Calyx looking for a new team. Yams departing, though he's still over. Is he still over in Europe? Do you know, Chad?
He lives in Poland. So,
he lives in Poland.
Yeah,
okay, so he's still open, I guess, for EU offers and stuff. He can roll around on that side of things. But at least
if he actually speaks English, because as far as I know, his English is not.
We're talking about Yams?
Yams, I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about Yams.
I thought. I'm about to say, I really hope his English is perfect, considering the teams he's been on.
Yeah. Like, Calyx living in Poland, where did that come from? Okay, never mind. I just understood it wrong then. Sorry.
So yeah, it's. I guess, does this mean there's no ex-Space Soldiers anymore? Is that kind of where we're going with it? Because they've got a spot in Pro League, right?
Well, they have to play for relegation, which is they play in the. Wait. No,
stage, isn't it?
They don't have a spot. So no, they have to.
They have their
relegation, which I don't know when that's going to take place, right? So they play with it's NIP, X-Space Soldiers, Windigo, and X3D Max. So the 4 teams that have to play. So considering that if Yam's out and Calyx is out, then they still have 3 players. But Engine was only like in temporarily again, right? Because that was a news article that you guys ran just before the Pro League season. Sorry to everybody, I hit my telephone. So there's that. I guess maybe they just won't compete and like get relegated anyway, or they can try and bring some people up. The thing is,
Calyx did an interview with us, and he said that like they are planning to compete and maybe get some roster together, get some Turkish roster together, but it's like something that he doesn't. It seems like he doesn't have a lot of faith in. It's just like play it out, and in the meanwhile, he's looking for other options. So
it seems like a crazy thing to do because there's nothing really on the line, right? Like other than potentially holding onto the slot. But even still, like if you win one of you just don't want to come last. So if you come second or third again, then you have to play in relegation again, right? So you still will have to play against Mountain Dew League teams. And personally, I probably wouldn't want to go back to Leicester if I was a player, if I had the choice. I'd probably just set the fuck out of that shithole with all the meth heads on the street out there. So
You understand,
I don't know.
Chad. You get it.
That place is a fucking shithole.
Mate, do you know what?
How
The
was that
amount of
last time?
time we've
It
had
seemed
to
pretty
spend
okay.
there has been fucking crazy in terms of literally there is nothing around it. Like ESL office and stuff, real nice, cool place. Anything outside of it is literally just dead.
It's such a weird place. It's almost like where people go to die. It feels like it's like what the fuck is this place? It was like morbid. It had this really weird vibe about it. Like people choose to live here. People probably don't choose to live there. People probably don't have anywhere else to go.
It's quite cheap. I think that's the only benefit. It's more of a uni town, but even the university kind of like nightlife is questionable at best if you compare it to other proper cities within the UK.
Alex used to live there, so he's like, we're walking past, he's like, yeah, this is like the bar and shit that everyone used to go to. I'm like, fuck that.
That one bar. Oh man. All right. So on the terms of what we're saying with X-Space Soldiers, though, looking pretty rough for them overall, right? I guess the main thing is where could Yams fit in though? He's probably got more options than Calix in terms of speaking English.
Yeah, but he's
Yam's
also
like 30.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah.
So it's really difficult. Like you're not going to get a good team, like especially a salaried one. You'd have to start like with like a team. I'm going to use like No Chance as a reference point, but I would say that's maybe even like a step further. So I think for Yam, it's like a question of hoping that a team needs an in-game leader. I think that in terms of the Turkish scene, there's not a lot going on there right now. Like they kind of, that Space Soldiers thing was their real chance for he'd have to actually build something from the very beginning. So I don't know, I guess the best bet for Yam would be like grinding FPL and then hoping like he gets some form of notoriety from that and then go from there. Otherwise there's nothing at the moment. I think when you look at it, like a team like No Chance, that's Stico and like Makaleli in it, and they can't even find an organization. That just shows you there's a lot of tournaments going on at the moment, but there's also, only so much money that can go around and only so much for decent salaries. So it's not a good place for anybody to be if you're at that level of Counter-Strike right now. I don't know if grassroots, the problem is there, like a lot of the stuff would be done in the scenes, and when you have an international roster like that, it's even more difficult. So, if you were like just playing in Sweden, or if you're just playing in one of these other regions and you could build a team, then maybe like some like LAN center, or like here in Spain right now, Movistar Riders, for example, getting like the Movistar thing is like a phone company, right? Like I think that, so if you get something like that behind you locally, then you have money coming in that way, but otherwise it just seems a bit dire if you want to try and be on that level at the moment. We don't have like Optic and Phases and all those, they're already here. We don't have anyone new coming in like that, so it's like I think it's pretty stagnant at the moment. I don't know where it can go. Even like with Devils 1, they're not even, that organization kind of just fucking shut the bed, I guess. I don't even know what happened there. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, where I see him fitting in, I don't think like the FPL route is something that he is potentially suited for. Maybe I'm wrong, but just like older players riding like 10 hours, 12 hours of CS a day, I don't think that's like the best thing to do. Maybe he's already invited to FPL, maybe he's not. I don't know. But like he could maybe fit into something like you said, into a national scene somewhere, someone that needs an in-game leader in Poland or in the UK or something like that has a good domestic scene, that has like some Gfinity 20,000-30,000 euro tournaments going on a lot and stuff like that. That is where he could fit in. Like, I mean, if he wants to go to India, I'm sure there are teams there that are looking for in-game leaders like literally all the time. But that's obviously maybe a downgrade that he doesn't want to do right now. But that is definitely an option. People do that.
And I mean, I guess like coaching some like maybe tier 2, 3 team that actually is salaried is an option as well. It's just because of kind of the lack of coaches at that kind of tier. And we don't really have any full-time coaches there, or some of them, some are, but not that many, obviously. So there, he could join like a Force. I'm just throwing a name out there, right? But just like a type team that is a Force, or maybe even a Spirit or something like that. Like a team like that could probably use a coach of. Obviously, if they speak English, that's the other issue. That they, or Turkish or whatever else he speaks. I mean, I imagine those two languages are the only ones.
Yeah, it's
so that also limits his possibilities, considering that he can basically only coach teams that speak English unless they're willing to just transition into English as well. So yeah, it's not the best look for Yam at this point, for sure.
Well, we'll have to watch and see what happens for them guys going forward and see what happens with the whole X-Space Soldiers roster. The next one we're going to look at is Virtus.pro remove byali and they sign... I'm going to try and say this fucking guy's name. What the shit is this?
OKOLOCIOUZ, whatever.
OKOLOCIOUZ.
Licious, just Licious, what the fuck?
Licious, okay, we'll go with that. Like,
OKOLOCIOUZ, yeah.
I like how you say it's so free flowing. We're just going to take.
Can we make a rule?
No more dumb names.
No. It's an even better one than that. Can we never talk about Virtus.pro on this podcast ever again? Literally ever again, unless they do something. Like I think it's just a waste of all of our time to talk about that team. The organization, unfortunately, are sticking with this bunch of guys, and now it's not even close to the same.
I don't understand that part about it, honestly. Like they continue picking up like random people that have barely proven anything on the local scene, and they just like an organization like Virtus.pro just keeps picking these up, like a Veggie, like an OKOLOCIOUZ, who we barely heard about from like even at the top tier scene of Poland, let alone on an international scene where they made it to like a top 30, 40 kind of team. They were maybe like around the top 50 team mark. So like for an organization like Virtus.pro to just keep like piling money on top of this roster, I honestly, I'm questioning the judgment of the leading team behind Virtus.pro, honestly.
As soon as they get rid of Snacks as well, then maybe we're onto something here. But the fact that they're stick, like they've made a lot of changes now, right? Like it's not even a shadow of itself anymore. I think Snatchy's a good player. I think Mihu's a good player. I watched a little bit of that Veggie guy play, but it's like way too early considering the level of Counter-Strike that they're playing at. It's like there's so many question marks around that whole Polish scene, especially with how like Taz's team or organization is completely capitulated out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck just happened? Like they had pretty promising signs at Pro League. They did some decent results. Had some cool, unique strategies. It was like, yeah, this seems all right. And then like Ago as well have been on the radar. I don't know. Like Polish Counter-Strike doesn't feel like it's in a place at the moment where it can be hugely sustained. So it's just a mess all around the board. And unfortunately for them, they have, I guess, VP, if they want to stay with a Polish team, which is where a huge portion of their fan base is, they're just going to have to get young blood, right? Because you don't want to be buying players out from Ago. You don't want to be buying players out from the likes of Devils One, because what's the point? They're just in the same shitty position that you are. Like, I don't think there's any standout players in the Polish scene right now who you think could carry the entirety of the scene, or that you could put together to put themselves in a position where they can be competitive. Like, there's not a single name that I could think of. Like Rallen, but then like he does pretty poorly on LAN, like all things considered, like his online ratings and stuff. And then at the Pro League event, it wasn't even him who was like one of the better fraggers, I didn't think anyway. Like my memory's not great anymore. I'm getting old.
The only good tournament I saw Rallen have off memory was the one where we were in Malta, Chad. He had like a good performance in the games it did have, but they didn't exactly make it deep. So
it's just one of those things. It's like, so where are you looking in Polish Counter-Strike right now? If I was VP, was like considering the amount of money they have as an organization, there's teams right now that you could probably pick up that would be much better just like off the bat. So I don't know. I don't really know what they can look towards doing. It's just a position where, like I said, I would be happy if we don't talk about them anymore, because they're completely irrelevant, at least in my mind, to any tier 1 level of Counter-Strike. I know we don't just cover tier 1 stuff, but with their mixed bag of results, it's just a fucking mess.
All in favor.
It's just like, it's a year past the organization just saying, fuck it, let's just drop this completely and just pick up a completely new team. They're a CIS-based organization as well. It's not like they don't have options. It's like they could fucking pick up, I don't even know, like fours, whatever, and they would have been better off because they're on the rise. Get fucking fours. Just fucking sign the entire roster, and you're going to be looking better than you are right now.
Why don't you just sign all of fucking Taz's team that have just been dropped by that organization?
Oh yeah, that's another option.
That makes the most sense.
Taz is probably not in any rush to
that would be so funny though. That would be funny as fuck.
It would just be like, he disappears, right? He comes back and he's like, oh, you want to stay with a Polish team? You've got no other fucking options. Grab us and give us that paper, boy.
I mean, that conversation must have happened.
Yeah, surely.
It must have happened.
Because as soon as I saw they were dropped, it made most sense. It was like, well, if you want a good Polish team rather than keep rebuilding or sticking shit on top of shit, then maybe you go for them.
The thing is, they should have pulled the plug on this when like the whole Snatchy signing didn't really work out, and that just like spiraled into more and more changes. That's exactly where the organization should have pulled the plug and just said, fuck it, we're not putting any more money into this roster.
I can't work out how players like Snacks and byali go from being good to being like absolutely like just flatlining. Like they're just a run-of-the-mill player, right? Because they had so much experience playing at the top level for an extended period of time. And now it's like you don't even see a good game out of them. Like, it's very rare that you see a good game out of them. I don't understand how like they fell so far off a cliff. And if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say it's probably Snacks leading the fucking charge to have Taz's head chopped off first, right? That's what I would look. So, and that's the case, and now they're left with this absolute mess. You have to just be like fucking hell. Like,
I think one of the things is also just like too much money for players and people that are just maybe not mature enough, maybe not motivated enough to be like something special, like in a way to achieve something very memorable, that they're happy with what they had. I mean, Virtus.pro, the lineup is like, it is a historic lineup, definitely. But at the same time, like there are so many lineups that did more than them overall and will probably as CSGO continues. And just like Virtus.pro, as Virtus.pro being paid pretty well, and them living in Poland where that is worth even more. And like a lot of these teams as well, just the Polish scene as it is actually, they have a lot of salary teams. Maybe those salaries aren't insane internationally, but if you're getting like 2,000 euros in Poland, you're living like pretty nice. And
Definitely.
there are like 10 teams that are getting that in Poland right now. That in a way promotes mediocrity, when like 5 or 10 years ago, like one team is salaried, so you had to grind to get into that one team. Now you don't. Now you can just like play some OKCS. You're on HLTV maybe like once a week or something, but you play the Polish national leagues and whatever the fuck, and you're enjoying life. You don't give a fuck. Well, why would you have to grind?
Why would they have to grind? Well, we'll find out whatever goes on with all of these teams going forward. Maybe VP just you decide, fuck it, this isn't worth it anymore. But our next one,
there's no way they don't. Let's say that. Like, there's no way they don't pull the plug anytime soon at this point. I don't understand.
Well, the amount of, like, even in Sydney, right? Like, the amount of guys at the event I saw wearing Virtus.pro shirts. I was like,
it is mad.
Like, there's still people just
I guess that's the problem, that they
It's
still have a
crazy.
big enough fan base for them to be for this to be worth it. That's the only explanation that I could have. That they still, that this, at least like the individual names, still pull so many people that it's just worth to the organization somehow. To, I don't know what their salaries now are at this point, especially the new guys probably aren't getting like 20,000 salaries that the old guys used to get. I'm guessing that would be fucking stupid, by the way, if that was the case. If the new guys actually got the same like kind of money that the older people get from like their 3-year contracts or whatever. I feel like that would be fucking, that would be just like literally just putting money down the bed.
Veggie getting
whatever.
25k
Let's move on.
He literally retires from life after
Okay, let's move on. I'm sorry for bringing this back.
You brought it back up. We were literally about to end, and Striker's like, let's just talk about it again. Shut the fuck up on VP. Another fuck up is visa issues. Gratisfaction. Oh dear. Fuck visa issues. It is so disappointing to keep hearing it and how it messes things up, especially for a team like Renegades who keep having this happen now. What's this, the third player that's been hit with it for a little bit in recent times?
Yeah, just to add a bit of context to this whole situation, it's just about the P1 visa applications in the States, right? And we had one of the esports lawyers make a tweet not long ago saying that it's changed. Now, I know a little bit of information on this whole situation, and basically what it sounds like from what I can tell is they're just being picky. They applied for multiple Renegades players' visas at the same time, and one of them got it and one of them didn't, right? Like, they would have submitted the exact same information. So the fact is, it's just whichever cunt is in the office processing the thing has an issue with it, right? The only difference between Gratisfaction and like Liaz is the fact that Liaz is Australian and Gratisfaction is from New Zealand. Now, as far as the rest of the world's concerned, there's literally no difference.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally the same shit. Like, New Zealand and Australia, we have pretty much like an open border with one another. Like, there's who gives a fuck? Like, we don't give a fuck. I don't know why anyone in America would give a fuck. They're literally just being very finicky and questioning things. And it's not just Gratisfaction. Ricky doesn't have his yet. He hasn't been able to get his right. That's why Complexity aren't playing with him at the moment.
Jesus Christ.
So there's like a lot of this stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. There's no real answers as to why. So I guess the whole situation with P1 visas, maybe they're just changing the way that they're processing them. Esports, being recognized. The thing is, like, Jonas could probably just send a letter. Like, he could just get his teammates from the Golden State Warriors to send a letter along with this and just be like, this is an athlete, right? Like, I don't like calling it, like, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but like, that's what they're applying for, right? It's athlete visas. It's what a P1 visa is in this circumstance anyway. So, like, I'm not sure what the drama is. Speaking with the Renegades guys in Sydney, it seems like it's probably something that'll get cleared up hopefully pretty soon. The windows for time that they have for processing are quite extensive, all things considered. It's not just like handing in your visa at a fucking consulate or an embassy or some shit and getting it back like 3 to 4 days later. That's not how this works. It's a lot longer process. They have time to review bits and pieces. You have to submit a bunch of information as per their criteria, and if they reject it, you submit it again, and then the whole process starts again, right? So every time this gets rejected, it gets pushed by basically a month and a half. So for him, look, it's possible. It might not be the end of the world. It might come through soon. I think a bit as well, if we just continue to look at visa stuff, we're going to talk about Sydney soon, but I'm not gonna point fingers and blame people for this, because it's very difficult to enter my country. It's very difficult to enter the UK. It's very difficult to enter the United States. It's very difficult to enter Canada. We just have very strict borders. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. And if you're from a country where we may consider you want to come and live in our country, where you have in the eyes of our countries a much worse situation for whatever reason, like in terms of what your dollar's worth, or what your political climate is like, or what part of Europe you're from. Unfortunately, because of our very strict borders, we're just going to say no. Like we can't. That's the way it is. Like, we in Australia, and I'm not saying this is good, I'm just saying this is the fucking way it is. In Australia, immigrants try and come to our country all the time, illegally on boats. We fucking shoot at them until they turn around, or we just tow them to a fucking island and imprison them. Like, this is just fucking ridiculous, right? We have one of the biggest land masses on Earth, considering how many people we have living in our country. I know a lot of it's not inhabitable. I know a lot of it isn't habitable because of our climate, but we still have a lot of space. Anyway, long story short, I think Nico's visa situation, and same as Adren's, was because of the tournament circuit. I don't think they had enough time to adequately apply for the visa situation, all things considered. I think because they were doing all the blast events, they were in Star Series as well, all over the world. They were in Leicester for Pro League, here, there, and everywhere. I'm just going to say, like, I can use them as the perfect example. If you're from Bosnia and you're from Kazakhstan and you want to come to Australia, we're not going to just let you in. Like, that's not, if you apply at Banks, you get it the next day.
Right? I get it every second.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, the thing is, like, there's certain countries in the world which are just going to get it easier than others. And that's just the fucking way it is, right? Like, there's no way around the political climate of that. So I think theirs was just the fact that they were on that long drawn out tournament circuit. Stuff with the Renegades guys right now to do with, and Ricky as well, is P1 visas, so America being cunts, but we all know America just like cunts 95% of the time. And then I'm trying to think of, Zentara's another one, right? Another example, but he didn't get in the year before. So I'm not sure if Big have shit lawyers because Voxic got in fine. I'm not sure because maybe he got denied last year, then he needed to go through a stricter process. But all in all, the stuff's it's pretty shit. And this is why when all you fucking muppets at home are complaining about teams getting invited to events, and you're like, oh, they're fucking shit now. That's the whole reason that we invite them so far in advance, is so that they should be able to sort this visa shit out, so that everybody knows, and it still doesn't happen. So I don't fucking know the solution. Just hold every event in fucking Antarctica or some shit.
It's so wild though, because I think that's one thing, is people sit there and blame. It's like, oh yeah, some of the players may have not done it properly or whatever. There are a lot of countries where, especially if you're, like you were just saying there, Chad, UK or Australia or America as an example, it's less to do with the actual person. It's more to do with who could be fucking stamping that paper and looking at it, and if they're on some political fucking agenda with it at the same time.
I just have some breaking news.
Ooh.
Lucas, I need you to bring this up. I'm putting it in TeamSpeak. And I'm just going to fill for a little bit while. I don't want you guys to react to this just yet. I need to wait for it to come up on the stream.
God damn it.
Lucas, how long you think? You need to work quicker, all right? We don't pay you in fucking hamster pebbles so that you can work slowly. All right, this may go down as potentially one of the worst aliases in the history of any video game ever.
I knew it was some bullshit. I knew it.
I mean, Do you know the Navi guy? Like one of the top Navi guys, what his nickname is?
No, talk me through it.
Harris
Oh,
Bilton.
yes, I do know that.
Harris built
That
sick as
that takes the cake, man. Nickelback is okay compared to that.
Just so people who aren't aware, Nickelback is like a band who most people would consider make shit music.
Yeah,
Do
Yeah,
people
definitely.
not know about Nickelback?
Well,
Are
there would
we-
be people. We're
I mean,
old.
today's
yeah, I guess
today's
we are
generation,
older.
maybe not, man.
Yeah.
Like
So yeah, no, this is
20 to 30, I'm guessing everybody knows, but anybody below 20, I'm not even
look
sure
how
if they know
sick
who
the
Nickelback
guy's
is.
last name is. Just call yourself Trofimov. That's fucking sick. That'd be my alias. Fuck, bro. Anyway, breaking news is over.
Yeah, we are actually done with breaking news now. That's probably the best way to end it, by actually getting some crazy.
He's been
breaking
around
news
for a
going
while,
on
by the
there.
way, Nickelback, the guy.
Well,
So
maybe,
has
he
the
changes
band.
his maybe if he makes success
Unfortunately.
somewhere, we can force him to change his nickname. Now we're going to go on to IEM Sydney, and I wrote Liquid rising while Australis are skipping. Now I tried to plan out some really cool meme. I was going to get Lucas to put me on full screen. I was going to skip while Liquid are winning fucking events all over the shot, but I couldn't find my skipping rope, so that failed miserably. But there was a plan behind this. I was trying to be entertaining. Haven't been here for a couple of weeks, but no, it didn't work out. But obviously there was more than just Liquid winning at IEM Sydney. It was a sick event overall. Congratulations, Mr. Chad, as well, on your victory.
Number three
I had to
in
take
a row.
that
Are you
one
happy?
Very seriously. The amount
I'm
of
proud
people
of you.
coming up to me saying, "You better win the cashes." I was like, "For fuck's sake!" Like, for me and Henry, like, it's a fun thing. We put it on. It's meant to be a show. It's meant to be
Yeah.
entertainment. But like, when everyone was like, "Yeah, you better win," I was like, "For fuck's sake, I'm gonna have to try."
Pride
so,
of
like,
the nation, man. Come on, you know what Aussies and Brits are like.
I
Did
know,
that take
but-
you back as well, by the way? Like the pressure on yourself, you know?
Oh
needing
man,
to win a game.
I was like, well, like it was fun while we were playing, and like I didn't expect it to like be as easy as it was, considering the team that Henry had. Like, but the thing is, I spoke to everybody like beforehand. Most people had only, I don't think Fallen had even played the map before. Like, I think like you know, so it was like one of those situations where I think me, Henry, and Jason combined had played maybe 4 or 5 times anybody else in the entire server, because
Oh, wow.
we have to play like. As you know, James, we have to play so when we're on broadcast, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we physically like go out of our way to play as much as we can. And so for us, like I would knew like geeky smokes and shit. Like I had an A execute. Like I was like, working out Justin, I want you to throw this smoke, and we're gonna flash. You know, we're like lucky we didn't get to play. Unluckily we didn't get to play too many T rounds, because we would have just fucking hammered them with that A execute. But yeah. Apparently, like most people hadn't played the map a lot, which is a bit of a worrying sign for the fact that now the map's in the pool. I was hoping we'd see more of it from the top tier teams.
But you know who are taking it seriously, Chad? Obviously the fucking Asian team that went for our Shanghai show match.
Yeah, well,
Those dudes are ready.
Garrett did a video where he spoke about some of the stuff he was doing in that show match, and like giving some tips on it. So there's some, I think, anyway, we won't get stuck in the map. But yeah, 3 times in a row. I have a jar of salt to my name now, so that's pretty cool.
Can't complain about that. I got to say as well, just before we go on to actual the main focus of IEM Sydney, this is like an entertainment product for what the Cashes is the most well put together, like actual entertainment, because we get a lot of show matches and they're just fucking shit and they're not that entertaining, and I don't find them like any point to it. But this is actually something to look forward to that is put together well. We even have like the hype MMA style build up videos like behind it with a bit of banter between you and Henry. That I just want to see done. If people are going to do show match stuff and have like extra content, let's get some more of that, because at least it's fun.
Just one thing on this, because people genuinely, like I read comments on HLTV.org forums, and people genuinely, because I like to see what the brain damaged are doing.
I'm
putting you in the same boat
perspective.
as Frankie now. That Louise HLTV and Twitch chat. It's just fucking
I
awful.
read it all the time.
Sometimes I like to
Yeah.
see like what is wrong with other people's brains, and then try and reverse engineer to understand how they get there. It's pretty hard to do, but people genuinely think like it's scripted. Like it's not scripted. Henry and I are 2 extremely competitive people. There's no way that we would jeopardize like the entertainment value for winning against one another, because then we get to hold it over each other for the entirety of a year. So like there's no way that we would just go in there and like script rounds and do that kind of dumb shit. Everything in the lead up, all that kind of fun stuff, yeah, like that's that we do that. That's fun.
Yeah, and you
hopefully-
definitely get the pro players to get like do scripted rounds from the entire match, right?
Yeah, the thing is
Because
that
that's reasonable.
The thing is, Henry asked, we asked Rops if he wanted to play on Henry's team, and Rops was like, yeah, I'm going to play. But the first question Rops asked was it going to be on HLTV.org? Like, for stats? You know? So, like, of course people care about it. Like, people, I give a fuck. Like, when I play a show match every now and again, if I can get a positive rating, of course I'm going to fucking play to get that positive rating, man. I don't have too many in my career, so...
Gotta hold on to those glorious moments.
There's more for hopefully next year if we go back to Sydney. I don't know how it's going to go we're obviously going to talk about the major dates a little bit later. We'll see what when we get to that point. But there's a lot more that we can do to make it fun. So hopefully we can have a bit of better lead in next year.
I like the PGL Krakow, the fucking show match they had there, where Henry G threw out the PC and shit like that.
Yeah.
They were memeing themselves with that. That was really good. Like, the match was a match. It wasn't scripted, but they had these scripted parts and in between pauses and shit. That was fun as fuck.
You know, Dick Stacey's fucking entrance was phenomenal as well. Just to go, there's so many memories flooding back of this. I don't want this to take over what the IEM Sydney thing is, but yeah, that was solid. And also, any fucking idiots out there that think the chanting in Sydney was like not required or not wanted or over the top, fuck you guys, because that's exactly what I want to see. I want a lot more of that.
People obviously aren't used to like, I think it's maybe like our cultures, James, because you have to think about darts as well, right? Like darts in both of our countries, like it's like a day out because
it's like throwing the word cunt around non-stop as well for those guys.
People go to darts and they dress up, like they get in like full costume and stuff, and they just get pissed and they're just chanting. It's like 108, like that's what people go just to have fun with that, right? Like it's more of an experience than it is anything else. I think that obviously some of it can be a little bit distracting. But at the same time, you know, I would prefer that than some of these North American events I go to where it's just fucking dead silent. You know? It's like, and people don't even like North America. I think the thing is, because they're so spoilt for choice, they have events all over the country and they have a bunch year round. And obviously it's expensive to travel from point A to point B in America, and there are people going to jump down my throat. You can't still fuck off because it costs like $500 to $800 to travel from Perth to Sydney, and a shitload of people from Perth do that. Anyway, fuck y'all. But the point here is I get all those factors, and that's probably why. But I think a lot of people as well, like, oh, you know, like I'll go to the next one that is closer to my city, or I'll go to this and do that, or whatever. The problem is if that keeps happening, and people don't actually attend these events, and we're still having very poor figures in terms of turnout, then those events are going to start to dry up, and then you won't have as many in your country. So then when you guys are like tweeting and complaining about making Reddit threads about not having tournaments at all, it's going to be your own fault for not actually going when they were there. It's like New York. When New York's on,
oh my God,
why the fuck is no one going to New York? Like, I know you're American and like New York's not like crazy cool for you, but New York it's a very easy city to come in and out of. It's a fucking bazillion hotels. It's in one of the sickest venues we have for Counter-Strike. That thing should sell out every time. We need that to be a major, right? We need that event to be a major so it becomes a mainstay, because it needs to get like Cologne, it needs to get like Katowice status. It needs to be like a thing that comes around every year. It doesn't have to be a major all the time, but that should be like America's fucking event where every cunt and their dog go every year, just because that would be the sickest venue to fill out. Anyway, we've gone way far away from Sydney.
Yeah, we've come away, but we'll wheel it back in. So, starting talking points, I guess, is obviously we've done the visa side of things. FaZe Clan, they kind of got cucked by that a little bit.
I mean, it's hard to take anything.
You can't
from FaZe. It's just they got dealt a shit hand.
Of course, I had Yanko in my fantasy team, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's true. That didn't really work out, did it?
Is that what happened then? You
like
just got a direct replacement?
For like 240,000 as well, if you had the money one, if you were talking about that one.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts.
Your most expensive waste of a player.
Yeah, that was rough, but there was nothing they could have done about that. It's just I was slightly surprised that Yanko actually ended up playing the second game as well. But then again, it kind of makes sense just because he obviously knows all the strats and he can lead the team as well, which is obviously a big help. Given that Nico was out for the entire thing. So in the end, I guess I get it. It's just I was somewhat surprised that they didn't get Ustilo, who actually had a really good game at first. So I I was kind of hoping for them to just go like, fuck it, let's just like run around and shoot people at like old phase style kind of, and not try to play this as seriously as they would have with Nico, just because you're missing your best player. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're not gonna do well at this event. So I was hoping that they would just like go ham, and they didn't really do that. But then again, I do understand why Yanko ended up playing.
I don't mind that Yanko was playing. I also thought that maybe there might be a rule that would mean that Yanko would have to play, but there wasn't. I thought that maybe, I theorized that may have been a reason, but I actually think like Yanko, all things considered, like didn't he have a better rating than Adren for like?
No, he did all right. Like in the end, to be honest, that's true.
Like he had clutches, like he had rounds. Yanko had rounds that I remember. Like I can't say that about many players at that event, right? Like he had rounds that actually were impactful rounds. He won a couple clutches. He won that 1-on-4, didn't he? Like we were fucking losing it in the green room on Mirage when he won that round. I was like, we were fucking. I think it was against Tarek, and he went to go pick up the kit or whatever, and there wasn't enough time to defuse. It was like Yanko, for somebody, right? This is what people don't understand, or maybe they do understand and they're just dumb. But like as a coach, you're not going in and playing hours of aimbots a day, right? They're not doing that kind of stuff, and they're not. The thing is, like, he's just been slotted in to do his best job, and he's hitting some fucking shots. Like, I think that he did a very admirable effort. People want to critique and say, oh, they should just use Usillo. Someone still needs to give a level of instruction in that team. Like, someone would still have to go, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. It's not like they can't just full-on fucking FPL it. As much as that probably would have been more fun to watch, I still don't think, it would have panned out for him.
Yeah, I get it. Like I said, I understand the logic. It's just, I would have just thought them to have fun would make a lot more sense, and not try hard it.
Lucas wanted to show everybody a video. We're not going to be able to hear this, but the stream are going to be able to hear it. So he just wanted to show this to everybody at home. So Lucas, can you play us what we wanted to see?
I'm backing him in. I'm going in.
No,
Team Liquid are winning
yeah.
Sydney. Team Liquid are winning IEM Sydney 2019. They're only going to drop 2 maps the entire tournament. Twist is going to get the MVP. They're going to bask in the glory of a delicious VB, have themselves a steak pie, and fucking get some Vegemite on that cunt. Because Liquid are here. They're going to win it. Lock it in.
I was so confused by this.
Sorry,
I was so confused.
That was just me being 100% right about everything that happened at IEM Sydney. That's all. The viewer seen it. We all know what happened.
I'm just glad he didn't play the whole thing where I said something and Prof said something. Especially what I said, because that was completely.
You picked Fnatic or MIBR?
No, I picked Renegades.
Oh wow! Wow! Yeah. Okay.
So that didn't work out.
I went for FaZe and that almost fucking worked out. That would be disgusting if I got that wrong. I would be insufferable. I'd be literally the worst guy in the world to hang around with. But no one hangs around with me, so that wouldn't be an issue.
Don't worry.
That was surprisingly self-deprecating, Prof.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
My real persona leaking into
HLTV.
HLTV confirmed. Let's go.
Now, on the Renegade side of things, right? What was it? They lost out to Nip to put into lower bracket, and then it was Outsports, wasn't it?
You're talking about Renegades?
Yeah, Renegades.
They got fucked by the fact that Mouse lost to Big in the opening game.
Yeah, that was true. But then again, like, they didn't really put their best game forward for sure. Like in that Mouse Sports game, I thought they were completely out of it. They didn't even look.
They also lost to NIP.
Oh yeah, to NIP. Like the new first was there. They lost on CD side of Nuke. I think they lost 10-5 or 11-4 or something like that.
11-4, yeah.
Yeah, on the CD side of Nuke. So that was against NIP. Sure, NIP are historically pretty good on Nuke. One of their better maps, sure. But then again, it's not a. Yeah, it wasn't a good look for them for sure.
I just expected
won
more.
Mirage though. And then they also had 3 rounds on the T side there. They didn't play well. That's a fact. And I think when you take into account that they literally didn't really practice together normally for a month, surely, and even since the major, like not half of them, but 4 of them stayed in Europe, and Aza was in US. Then they practiced like that for like 3 weeks or something. Then they went into the US. But then Gratisfaction was in Canada. Then they couldn't sort the visa, so they played with Smuya. Then it's like all of that when it's combined. Like they had so shit practice that I feel really bad for them. That after the major where they played well and they had a couple of good events and Star Series as well was okay. But then when you look at it, they're just gonna be so fucked by not being able to play together in practice.
Long term.
I don't know. It sucks for them.
I'm just hoping that they don't lose too much confidence off this, because obviously, like you say, they looked really good at the major. We all were kind of assuming them to become like this stable top 10 to top 5, like, you know, on the edge of the elite kind of teams. I don't think anybody assumed they would actually break into that elite just because of the set of players that they have. They probably don't have the star power to do that, but still, we would have expected them to be kind of on the edge and be able to surprise some of these like the best teams in the world every now and again. And now, obviously, that hasn't been happening because of what Prof was outlining. So I'm just hoping that once they finally figure everything out and then sort out the visas, they're going to be able to go back into their former rhythm and just get back into the groove, because it would have been a shame that they're like how they ramped up over the course of the entire major cycle would just go to waste. So I'm just hoping that they return to that form.
The biggest problem they might have is if Grat is unable to get a visa and they can't practice properly, then like their pro league group is pretty hard. They have to play MIBR, is it Isurus, and Complexity. Those are the 3 teams in that group. And then this is all in North America. So this is like back to back to back. So it's Pro League, Summit, and then DreamHack Masters Dallas. There's 3 like tournaments. So Summit, like it's middle of the pack. Pro League, it's going to be a tough one for them to beat MIBR and go through regardless. So they're like on the fence ones.
Because they have to be first in the US, like the NA group.
So it might just come to the point where those 3 tournaments just get like thrown in the bin for them. Like I don't know who they're going to be able to do. And then the next one is Cologne. So that's where we'll get to see if they can carry over any of that form. I don't think it'll hit their confidence too badly. Like I think it really sucks losing and not being able to play in front of your home crowd. But at the same time, it's like I think they over exceeded expectations at the major, and then they backed it up at Star Ladder. And then for them to drop off here, considering all these things, it's not like they just fell off the face of the earth. Like there's reasons for them to have underperformed, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We don't normally set that up for a lot of teams, but this is one of those occasions where that can be the case.
Yeah,
but they came down to 12th. That's where FaZe came. So it's like, whatever. And FaZe are going to change roster very soon. So that's all good.
Now, what do we think of the whole mouse sport side of things? They get 5th to 6th in the end, but for a first kind of big land showing, where are you guys sitting with that?
Honestly, just more great stuff from mouse sports from when we saw them at in Pro League, where they obviously placed first in their group, made it directly to the finals. Just 2 very, very good showings so far for them. And from Sydney especially, I was just like really glad to see Frozen kind of step it up and actually like become a star of the team, because that wasn't really the case in Pro League, where he was kind of looking like he was still kind of settling into this entry frag role. While in Sydney, he just looked super at home. In the playoffs, he was very streaky. But in the groups, he played really, really well. And even in the playoffs, he had like a lot of really good rounds. It's just he was really up and down. Like he had like a streak of 5 to 10 rounds where he didn't do anything. But he had like 3 really big rounds where he basically like won them like 4 or 5 rounds in a row. Even in the playoffs in the series against Rock. Now I'm forgetting who they played.
They played MIBR.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They lost MIBR.
That's right.
They had Mirage.
But yeah, that's what I was really glad to see that Frozen, for this, like you say, this being his first kind of big event outside of Pro League, which was obviously just a group stage against three teams. This was his first big event. That was a really good sign for me.
Yeah, he's a confident kid, doesn't really give a fuck. Like, I don't know what they feed kids these days. Like,
he's definitely got
15, 16-year-olds playing on a stage, like people yelling shit. They don't give a fuck, just playing the game casually, killing noobs. What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the vibe that you get from like a lot of these big star players. I mean, who end up being star players.
Yeah, like S3.E and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like something like that. Or even like Nico, or from back in 2014, 15. More like 14, I guess, when he was starting out. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from him, even back like when he was playing locally. So yeah, expecting more big things for him for sure.
Difference kind of sports with Nico is like he is still from the old school. Like he played 1,000 LANs in Bosnia, like local LANs.
Oh yeah, that's true.
People yelling at you and hitting your monitor and shit like that. So I don't see him.
Played a lot locally. Like he's been playing since he was 13 in like the top 2 local scene. Like he was winning the Czech Championship, which is like the biggest event here. With like Czech Republic and Slovakia, we have like a combined scene, and he's been playing there for the past 3 years since he was 13, and basically the best team from the country. So he's been around for a while, at least locally. It's not like he's completely new to the.
But imagine being
game,
being like a 26-year-old veteran of the game, and then just like being carried by this kid.
Yeah, that's
literally just
funny,
finished basic like grade school. He's the reason you are winning. Literally, that is kind of funny.
The chosen one.
Well, the thing is, like, you look at that team, and I think what Carrigan's building with them is very good. It's like that Robs definitely didn't have before. Frozen obviously coming into this team, it's new for him. Woxic had it with Issa when he was part of Hellraisers, but it's a super hypey team, right? Like, it's not hypey where it's like every round they rely on the hype to get through, like what you saw from Games Academy / what the fuck did they become? Immortals. But it's like it's creating that really good positive energy vibe that Carrigan's been known for. I think that's super important that he gets them to buy into that really early, because he has a team of very, very skilled individuals who are yet to get the ego that what FaZe had, right? Like, he's gone to a team and he has a bunch of kids who he can if he keeps a leash on them and can make sure they don't get an ego. Like, you think about FaZe, right? Guardian, Olaf, Nico. Fuck, if I was those three players, of course you have an ego, right? Like, of course you fucking. Whereas, like, Frozen, new to this, Robs. Okay, well, you got made to play in that Mouse Sports roster, and you were held. I'm not saying he was held down, but he didn't get to be like the Robs we're seeing in this Mouse Sports team. Woxic, obviously, we know that he's always been a bit of a star, so maybe he has a bit of an ego there. But I think this is really good way for Carrigan to build this by, like, really just pushing them in the direction he wants, and I think that's going to be important for the growth of this team. I think it's great structure, because Chris J and Carrigan, in my mind, are two players who can have a lot of fucking impact in terms of, like, opening up rounds, opening up games, because if the other players, like, slow to it, they have no issue doing it, right? They're not in-game leaders who have to sit back and, like, sit on the haunches and be little bitches. They actually get stuck in. So I'm excited for this team because they're enablers, and if they can enable these three star players, it's a fucking sick-looking roster.
Yeah, I mean, when this roster came together, this was what we wanted to see from them. This is like literally the best scenario for this team. Okay, maybe they beat MIBR here in the round of 6 and go to the semi and then lose to Liquid. That would be like the ideal scenario. But this is like everything is looking as we expected it could look if things go right. So things are going right. It's going in the right direction, and potentially could be a sick team in like 3 months. Just like talking to Robs, is like the way he said, oh, now we are actually playing with a real in-game leader. It's way different than it was before. I'm like this is your, like, that is what he thinks about Chris J's in-game leading. Like, we all say it's okay. We all know he's not a real in-game leader. It's not his natural thing. But he did like a decent job. But the way he described it, it seems like it's really a big difference. So could be also, I mean, we saw him play pretty well, Robs, except I think the game against MIBR. So potentially, who knows where it goes.
It's exciting times. And we come down to the whole Fnatic scenario again. They managed to make it all the way. And at least from what I was saying, especially when it comes to that grand finals, it was a lot more competitive than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like some 3-1 to Liquid.
I mean, Fnatic single-handedly made this an interesting tournament to watch. I mean, literally every game, playing against Chiefs or Liquid, it's a close game. Doesn't fucking matter. It's just
NIP,
Liquid.
You know, like the NIP series was fucking.
The NIP series was insane.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't.
So much.
I don't know, man. Like, whatever. Like, these kind of series between NIP and Fnatic, and we saw the same thing in I think it was Star Series. Where they also played like an overtime game. Between each other, and they rarely play each other actually. So for this to kind of start being like an actual rivalry was bringing me back to like 1.6.
Rolling back 1.6.
SK versus Fnatic, you know, where get right in force, we're still in Fnatic, and you know, going up against SK and stuff like that. That was those kind of vibes. But this was a lot more messy. Obviously, like both teams had like rounds that they shouldn't have won, like in any world ever. But still, exciting series for sure.
I honestly at 1.4 I was like, oh fuck it, Liquid are cursed. This is it. Game over. This is going to Fnatic. It was one hell. Yeah, that I think is at that point I'm saying there's some fucking voodoo going on. I don't believe in that shit, but something is not right if that was going to be the case.
Talking about the Dust 2, like the overtime or whatever? Or no?
No. Like if Liquid lost to Fnatic, and
if Liquid lost and got second place again, I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on with this world?
They got fairly close.
Yeah, when it hit 14-9 or 14-8 or something, and it was when there was that mad pistol round that Liquid managed to put out the bag.
Yeah.
I was thinking if they'd lost that, that's it. It's giving Fnatic more power to see that all the way through.
That's kind of why I'm thinking that this is not going to be like the magical solution to all of their problems that they've ever had in the grand finals, because they still looked very shaky at times. Liquid did. So like, imagine if they lost Overpass, they would have probably lost the series, and that was a 16-14 game on the second map. So like,
and Nitro clutched the shit out of
it. Oh yeah, they shouldn't have even won that map. That's true. So
no, but by the way, just to go back to our Avengers Endgame poster, if it wasn't for one of you two being on there, I was putting Nitro as Captain America, because fuck me, in terms of deserving it and flying the flag, that was definitely it after Sydney.
Yep. But just generally, like, that's why I don't think Liquid are completely like out of the what do you call it?
Out of the woods, we would say.
Yeah.
Huh? What, I'm sorry?
We would say out of the woods.
Out of the woods. Oh yeah, I was just like, out of the water is not right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Because of how shaky they still looked in this grand final, they definitely could have easily lost it in 4 maps if they lost Overpass. Because on Dust 2, they didn't even look competitive on the T side.
But the thinking is that now that they won, the things will change. It can't change like mid-series.
Yeah.
Sure, but I still don't think like this is going to be a magical solution to everything. I still think we're going to see some shakiness in these finals for Liquid in the future. But sure, this is a very good sign going forward that they actually fucking managed to do it for once and not drop the ball at the last on the last map or like next to last map, but they did in New York against Mouse Sports and stuff like that. So good signs. I'm not entirely sold on Liquid, but from now on, I'm not going to say like I'm never going to bet on Liquid in the final because they actually won one. So that's my takeaway from it.
I just want to say one thing. How funny it was. That it was. I think it was that 14-7, 14-8 for like Fnatic starting to come back.
Yeah.
The crowd starts chanting like Liquid's choking, Liquid's choking, and then Liquid win. And I don't know who's doing the interview. It says like, thanks for the amazing support, crowd. You're the best. It's like literally insulting you, calling you chokers 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, but
it was amazing.
They insulted everybody.
That is true, but it was very fun.
The best chant, obviously, was "fuck you, Twitch chat, fuck you."
Yep.
I
that and the Overwatch one.
I really hope I had something to do with that embodiment of hating Twitch chat. I don't think I did, but I really wish I did, because like that's great. That made me really happy to hear that. The Overwatch one obviously got taken out of context by those fucking snowflakes over there on the Overwatch Reddit, thinking that it was just because it was behind the stage and it was quite loud, and it was bleeding over into the Counter-Strike tournament. That's why they were doing it.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, because there was that going on side by side.
That. Yeah, so that's why they were chanting that. It was like to hopefully be heard on the Overwatch stream.
I loved it.
So it wasn't like they disliked Overwatch.
Like,
I'm sure there's a lot of people who were in there chanting that who probably play Overwatch, right? Like I don't think people would chant. Like I'm not a big fan of the fact that Overwatch League is a franchise league where you have to buy in something that costs $20 million for a completely unproven game that's been forced down people's throats in esport. But I don't have a problem with the game and what they're trying to do. Like I don't think a lot of people. I think it was more directed at that. But can we just point out how absolutely ridiculous the disparity of maps played between Fnatic and everybody else of the tournament was? Fnatic played 20 maps. The next closest in maps played, that was, of course, Liquid, and they only played 12 maps.
Jesus
that's
Christ.
five in the grand final.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's how mental. That's how different the runs were, right?
Yeah, because Liquid got to skip ahead, didn't they? Didn't have to play through.
Yeah, they didn't have to play the quarterfinal. Obviously, they didn't play through the lower bracket either. So
none of their best of threes went 3 maps. They're all 2-0s, right? So it was just the last one. So it's like that's fucking wild when you look at that. And then like when we had the stats up after you had all 5 players from Fnatic in like the most kills for the tournament. The stat screen coming up, it had like JW was at like 300 plus kills, and I'm pretty sure like the closest on the side of Liquid was like 150 or 160 or something. Like it wasn't even close. Like because they just played so many rounds of Counter-Strike. It's fucking wild to think. And that's like 2 contrasting runs within the same tournament, both being in the grand final. I think it's probably a good thing that Liquid won in the fashion they did. Well, I think it's good and it's bad. I think it's good for them winning the grand final because I think it would have like felt like an actual, they had to grind through to get the win. If they just won it in 3-0 and just fucking 16-4, 16-4, 16-4, I don't think that would mean as much to them. I think it'd be more convincing for us. Like, I think we'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, that was sick, right? Because that's what I was expecting. I was expecting just a fucking curb stomping. I just thought this would be like, fucking good night, close it down, let's get the fuck out, go have an early dinner with my parents, you know? I thought all that kind of shit was going to happen. But that wasn't the case, like, by any means. So I think that you have to look at like the stars that aligned for Fnatic as well to get to that point. Obviously, they had a couple like games. They had a lot of clutches. They also had a lot of clutches in Star Series. If you look back at a lot of their matches there versus the NRG guys, there was a lot of clutches there. All those factors having to come to life. JW being huge in terms of opening kills. I think that he was like the most influential throughout the tournament. Like if you actually look at maps played that matter, like more than 5. Like he was one of the biggest like opening kills, success rate there. Obviously, Crims is always good. Brolan, I think that like he's on the right track. You know, he was pretty devo with himself when that post game interview, considering his performance. Like, but I think that a lot of teams of that tournament, the only team with expectation of winning was Liquid. Everybody else in the whole tournament felt like they were content with where they came. Obviously, not Renegades. But like you heard Fallen's interview after the MIBR thing, I was like, yeah, well, you know, we lost, but kind of feels like we're on the right track. And Mousesports, yeah, we're happy. Fnatic, oh, well, we made it to 2 finals in a row. Fnatic seems to be doing good now. We're kind of happy. NIP, yeah, we had some 6 series. Yeah, cool. We're content. Like, it's not the end of the world. I felt like everybody was pretty happy. The only team that wouldn't have been happy, that would have been like really, really crushed, would have been Liquid if they didn't win. So like, that's why it's relief is probably what they're feeling more than anything after that victory.
Yeah, and just to touch back on the amount of maps played, right? Fnatic could have only played 1 more map. Like they could have only played 21 maps. And that would have been after because they played MIBR on 2-0 in the second round of the groups. So that's the only map that they could have played more in the entire tournament. So yeah, that's pretty sick. 20 maps is just, it must be some kind. Feels like it must be some kind of a record outside of majors, maybe.
Yeah, that's a long-winded way to do it. But I'm impressed by both of them. For first of all, Liquid getting over that curse, Fnatic actually getting to the grand final. Because honestly, when I saw that draw come in, I was thinking, it's going to be rough for Fnatic either way. But they managed to get it done. They managed to make it all the way to the grand final. So we'll see what happens.
Talking about teams that didn't, like, the only team that also didn't really feel great after this tournament is obviously Heroic. They're not like in the top, they're on the like bottom part of like the top 20, but still they went out and literally last place, losing to Greyhound, losing to Fnatic first and then Greyhound.
The Greyhound one, yeah.
So, and they were coming in after like a decent Pro League tournament, so that is kind of the only team that's really not happy about how this went.
They should never have lost. That should have been a 2-0. That Inferno game they lost, just watching how pathetic their T-sides were, I was like, what the fuck? Because they won the first half like 12-3, right? It didn't feel like they needed to do
and won the pistol, I think, as well.
Yeah, they got eco'd pretty... No, they didn't win the pistol.
They didn't win, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, it didn't feel like they were doing anything, you know? Like, Urcast had full control of Banana like every single round. Like the guy didn't even feel threatened. It's like, what have they been working on? Like, how can they not have anything on the T side of Inferno? Just nothing at all. It was just mind blowing. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Then they won the second map 16-5 or some shit. Like, it shouldn't have been a 3-map series by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah. I think that's fair. United, I don't think anyone ever expected anything from them.
No.
Yeah.
Not even
VG. VG is dead. Boot is dead.
Yeah.
Not dead. They're not dead, but they're like...
I mean, they haven't done anything in fucking 6-7 big events that they attended, so nothing out of the ordinary there, really.
There was a point in at one point I actually thought MVP were going to take big, but yeah, that didn't go to plan. I was rooting on for my Korean boys. See how them young guns can do. They don't look that bad.
Sorry?
I think MIBR are on the right track. Obviously,
That's what
it helps.
they keep saying.
Well, it helps having Caldura play very well, right? But I think like just in the CS that I was watching, I don't know why it's like Phelps doesn't fit in. I still don't know why. I still don't know why it just doesn't seem to click. It's just not there for whatever reason.
He feels very disconnected from the team a lot of the time. Like he keeps making decisions that aren't really aligned with the rest of the team, I feel like. And it's the same that we saw from him when he was still part of SK, like when that team was together 2 years ago. And I feel like that issue has kind of persisted. That sure, like he keeps having some good games and like he keeps having impact, but like in key rounds he just seems a little bit too out of sync and stuff like that. So I feel like that might be why you think he doesn't fit in. It's just the feeling that I got, and just like general, like specific rounds, seeing him do weird decisions and stuff like that, or make weird decisions, it's made me feel the same way.
But it is weird because when you look at, I mean, when people talk, we talk, it's like Phelps feels off. When you talk to anyone that watches CS a bit like more in depth, people talk shit about like Phelps not fitting in, for actually contributing. But you look at the stats, Phelps is literally their second best player at this event. But like everyone will say something is not good there, like something is off, which is kind of interesting. I don't know, like didn't look as deep as it like into it to realize why, but there is something weird going on right there.
And Dad just made a good thing in chat as well. He said because Phelps and Fur are so similar, if you look at them playing on separate teams, they fulfill the same needs. So he comes in full and tries to accommodate for it, and it fucks with both Phelps and Fur, and they can't play the same way they do separately.
Oh, now it feels like Fur just gets the lion's share of the aggressive play. Yeah. It actually feels to me that Phelps isn't playing that role anymore. He's not doing, like, the thing is, before it was that way. I remember watching them like in 2017 when they were both holding the A-bomb site on Mirage. Like, I remember vividly watching one guy close A ramp and one guy close halls, and both of them dead. Nobody got a kill. And then Fallen rotates in from window, and the whole bomb site smoked off. And it's like, what the fuck am I meant to do? You guys didn't even give me like a chance. They were so disconnected, and there was no cohesion. And like, a couple of things which like really worries me. Still, like, I don't think they're playing. I don't think Phelps gets the same aggressive roles anymore, especially on the CT side. I think that's been kind of taken away from him, which is good because I think that Fur is probably the better one to keep in that position. But you look at when SK, at least in my mind, or Luminosity or whatever, when they had like their best formulas, it was when the player that's playing Phelps's role was an anchor player, like Bolts, when it was FNX. Obviously, they did have a really good run when they had Phelps on the team, but I just remember like FNX wasn't like a go out and get shit done player. He was a sit there and fucking kill a bunch of guys if they come his way. Same as Bolts. Like, I just remember them vividly just being like, sit there and get the job done. Like, just rock players. Like what I used to envision Flamey being, just a fucking cunt that sits there and mows down 3 people when you need him to. Yeah. And Phelps doesn't feel like that same kind of a player, right? Like, at least that's my opinion on the matter. Obviously, Counter-Strike has changed. The game's different now as it was before. But look, it might not be Phelps. He might not be the problem. There might not even be a problem, because I just said I feel like they're on a good track right now. I think that they're on their way back, and I think when they integrate and have a bit of time to practice, we'll see even better signs out of them. It's just whether or not they can be a top 3 team in the world, considering the teams we have in the top 3 right now. That's the real question.
The thing is, I can't really point a finger at what exactly it is, but every time MIBR do well, it just looks kind of seamless to me almost, where they just keep making the right decisions in these like mid-game scenarios that they were super known for in SK. And then suddenly, like the next event, none of this is true. Like their decision making is really shit. No, nothing is working out. Like they seem super uncomfortable. Phelps and Fair just like make aggressive plays that don't end up working out. I don't know what it is like that makes them so inconsistent from event to event. If it's like, I don't know what to highlight from this really, but that's just the feeling that I'm getting whenever I'm watching MIBR. Either they're playing well and it does look seamless, or they're playing badly and nothing seems to be working for them. It doesn't seem to be a middle ground where they're still solid and consistent. I don't know what it is though.
We're ready to move on to our next bit, guys, because we are quickly running through time. It's actually going really fast for Our first episode back with all four of us. So on to our favourite part of all of this. It is where we get to put you two, Striker and Prof, going head to head against each other. I've put Captain Marvel versus Captain America down below just because it seems the most fitting. And Prof, I'm never going to let you live this down. But you are
power-wise,
most powerful.
I think Captain America loses pretty hard, man. Like Captain Marvel, I can fly and just basically like it's just destructible. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
That is how playing this game feels. This is how the betting game feels like.
I'm just being put in a really bad spot, like from the start. Like, this is so unfair.
Yeah, but at least you are a dude who looks like a dude.
And also, I have tits.
Prof is now
having
one with tits.
Probably be insane.
That's the wrong picture. That's from the last season, Lucas.
Okay. So, is this not the right one?
Well, yeah, but this is X16. Look at what I sent you in Discord.
Our producer fucked up again. This is our last season's.
Yeah, this is the result of the last season.
He's just reminding Striker of what's happened in the
exactly.
past.
Like,
let's fucking go. Easy win.
Oh dear.
The first one.
At least you're slowly climbing up here, Striker.
We both won. Yeah, that's the big part of this.
It's just who's got the bigger balls, and sadly, it's somehow the woman.
Thanks. Thank you. Like I said, I'm just being set up. I have nothing to say.
So, how is your bets looking for this week then?
I've gone pretty reasonable. I don't know how about you, Prof. You said you had a 6 slip. Like I can predict like some super weird fucking online shit that's somehow going to work for you, even though it never fucking should. So just show me what you got.
I'm just waiting for it to pop up on my end. Actually, I'll open it up on the on the other screen.
All right.
So yeah.
Okay.
First match, the Polish Derby. X-Devils 1 versus Izako Bors.
You made the right choice.
I don't even know what match tournament this is, but I saw it's 1.6.
That is pretty real. Yeah.
1.6 for X-Devils 1. I think that is absolutely like easy to take. And then Force against XCOM. Force didn't really play a lot since Rio, where they finished. I don't know which place, or not Rio, whatever they played. I don't know. They're a decent team playing against XCOM, whatever. Not really impressed by those guys. 1.5, also reasonable. I think this is MDL.
That is MDL.
That is MDL. And then I just took two matches from Blast against Cloud9, Astralis and Navi. I think that is also reasonable. This is not Navi's first match, it's the second one. So that's
so that's out the way.
Dodged that one.
Dude,
and then I took Astralis against Cloud9.
Who is their first game against, by the way? Now you've seen it, Jad.
Ents.
Okay. Yep, that's going to be good fun, isn't it?
I bet on it. I actually, I mean, just show mine because I did go for Ents.
Okay.
I'm not going to get burned twice on the same shit.
Yeah, don't ever bet on Navi if it's their first game.
I only went for this because I know that it's risky as fuck because Navi could still win this. Like, it's not like they fuck up like every single first game of the tournament. It's just like it happens to them often, but not every time. So it's like I'm still worried about what's going to come of this. Holy shit, how much did you bet?
That's what he put 164 on, is that?
It's 105.
104. I'm reading off a tiny screen.
Classic max.
I went for the first game of the thing. Well, first game of the tournament, going against Navi. Obviously, not gonna do the same thing I did like 10 episodes ago, where I bet on Navi on the first game of the tournament. Didn't really work. So I'm not gonna do that. Bet on Ents because they had the odds were still very favorite. Oh, not very favorite. It was like 1.83 for Navi or something.
Yeah.
But still pretty favorite towards Navi. I see it more as a 50-50, given that Navi just generally tend to start pretty slow.
Uh-huh.
Not that they always lose the first game, yeah. But yeah, got the same kind of thinking for Astralis. And no, I didn't bet on Astralis Cloud9, actually, because I went for Astralis NIP and Astralis Ents. Neither of them are like the last games of the tournament where it doesn't matter. So I just kept my eye on that. That's why I didn't bet on Astralis Cloud9 because that is the last game of the group stage. So that's always kind of dangerous to put your money on. I actually did want to do that before I realized what the implications could be, Because a lot of the time, especially at blast events, we just see that game being completely useless.
But I think it's Astralis though, and they haven't been playing. They've been getting all of this shit. No way they're gonna be like letting their. They want to go like 15 rounds lost in the tournament. Yeah, that's their goal now.
If there's somebody who will not let their foot off the gas for the last match, it's probably Astralis for sure. I was thinking the same way. I just didn't want to take that risk for no reason for 1.18 odds. It's not very good.
I want to be contrarian to this.
I'm sorry?
I want to be a little bit contrarian to this whole situation. And I want to add context before that I don't actually believe what I'm about to say, but I just want, if what I say comes true, that we can clip it and no one will even give a fuck about this first bit. I think it's
now take a small pause. Take a small pause so we can clip it. Okay.
Look,
what you're basically doing is doing the Thorn way, where he just like predicts all kinds of shit and then just like says
if something comes true, man. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Astralis are going to be like, it's going to be in their head so badly that the community backlash, like everyone just fucking hates Astralis now, besides the 6 guys on Reddit with the fucking Astralis, what's the thing called? The fucking that piece of shit, who are defending them in all the threads. They're going to be so tilted off the face of the earth that they're going to, only teams they're going to beat are the local team and Cloud9.
That's the bad part about this, by the way. I don't
believe that. I just think now when that comes true, we can clip it and it'd be really nice to sign onto the internet.
Oh my god.
Cool.
It is a decent idea. It is idea. Like, we need to have different thinkers in the world of CS, definitely.
That's where I just put myself. I just basically transported myself into the body of a HLTV.org forum poster.
You literally stole that off HLTV forums, though.
By the way, just to close out my slip, right? I did bet on the last round actually in one case, which was Nip Navi, which is basically just because of the history between the two teams. Like, Navi basically doesn't lose to an IP since like, I don't know, a year ago. Yeah. So I just don't think they would lose even in a game that doesn't necessarily matter too much. And it's potentially like one that could matter especially for a team like Navi, who's probably going to be like somewhere on the edge potentially with like ENCE and Astralis for like the top 2 spots. So I feel like that game doesn't have that much of a possibility to be kind of useless, which Astralis and Cloud9 definitely could. Astralis could already be 4-0 at that point. So they would have already been through, most likely. So yeah, that's kind of my thinking.
How many more weeks of this have you guys got?
I don't remember what we
have. This and like 5 or 6 more weeks, and then
weeks. Okay.
Was it before like
how much money do you need to spend now, Striker, to catch up?
Has to be before LA.
I mean, we still have plenty of chances, so it's not like I have to go ham now.
Oh yeah, James missed out what's on the line.
What's on the line?
So last time Prof won. So Prof won. So Striker has to eat. How many of the fish did we say? Did we say it was 3?
Or I think you said 5. I think you said 5.
No. Originally it was one.
Yeah, so it was just one. Fish? One of the little Swedish dumb fish.
No.
So
oh god, who is having to do this?
Well,
Striker.
Whoever loses.
But hold up.
You already had to eat one, but
I offered up a chance here. Offered up a chance to double down. Now,
please say he didn't. You're not meant
to.
Sponge
is pitiful.
He's opted here to double down.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
So now,
we both did basically.
If he loses, he has to. How many did we say? Someone's got to go back and check.
5. I think it was 5.
He has to eat 5 if he loses this time, right?
On stream,
yeah. Yeah, he has to eat 5 if he loses this time. But
this is not cool.
If Prof
not
loses,
on stream, we can't do it on stream because it's going to be like in whatever.
If Prof loses, Prof only has to go back to stage 1. He just has to do the fucking chili shit. So Prof is like
Prof's winning.
1 step behind. Yeah, if Prof wins the whole thing,
Striker, do you know what you fucking got yourself into? Like I literally worked on a show.
I have to do the last one, which would have been the one. So that's why.
Okay.
That's why this is.
Let me explain this to people to be real fucking blunt with how bad this is.
He was baited in by Sponge so bad.
This is so dumb. Whoever agreed to do the fish thing, because I worked on that game. Shut up for a second, Striker. Fucking idiot, I'm trying to talk. You got to be understanding of how bad this is for yourself. I did a show at Gamers, right, where they tried to make the kids eat this fucking fish. And I mean, we had to film it outside specifically because of how bad it smelled and that if any got anywhere, it would literally fucking ruin anything it touched. I was just next to the people eating it, and I was nearly throwing up. It's not a fucking joke. I was like, I'm sat there cocky as anything, like, oh, it can't be that bad. I even stupidly said at one point, I might try some. I think you guys are just being pussies. Then I smelt it, and I went, get me the fuck out of here. This is not real. This is not what you should be fucking eating.
I'll let you use one condiment, Striker.
Oh, God, look, the picture. The picture says it all.
You can use a condiment.
Striker, I'm not joking. It is honestly horrible.
Sorry, what?
It'll be fine.
I'm not joking, Striker. I feel sorry for you.
You'll be alright. It's all good.
Look, I haven't lost yet, so you can start feeling sorry whenever I do.
Oh, whoever loses, this is so fucked. I can't believe anyone agreed to this.
Prov doesn't have to do this, though. Prov has to do the challenge that I did at the start.
But I might be worse at that than you, I feel like.
Oh, you're not good with spice?
Nah.
I
don't know. I thought I was going to be bad, but then, I don't know.
If anyone ever out there who's watching gets a chance to try that fish, just run really far. Like, it's just not, it's not good. Even young Swedish kids say how bad it is because, like, their old grandparents and shit eat it. Like,
I really didn't want to do anything that made me gag, and this is probably going to do it, so.
You'll be fine.
Right. We're done for the betting segment,
you
guys.
You haven't tried it, Chad. Like, you're talking as if it's okay.
Yeah, he's out of this. Me and him are fine. I feel sorry for you guys, and Prof is probably laughing because even if he does lose, it's definitely not as worse. But we are done for our Masterbettor segment. And don't forget, guys, if you are wanting to bet, we're playing with fake money. We're doing it for entertainment purposes. We're showing you what can happen and what crazy bets these two morons will put up against each other of who can waste the most money first. But you've got to be over 18. Don't spend money if you haven't got it. And don't whine and bitch at anyone that gives you a little bit of advice on where to bet. Don't listen to just an analyst desk and say, I'm going to do exactly what they say, and then blame Chad every single time he gets it wrong.
And definitely don't message the players.
Yes, don't message the players. Exactly.
They are feeling bad.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, they're already like on the edge thinking, where's my next paycheck coming from? Will I still be on this team? And then it all happens if you guys just come in and be cunts. Next one. I've had fun with titles this time. I've clearly missed being here. Yu-Gi-Oh! North capture the heart of the cards. I kind of like that one. I'll be literally proud of that for a second. It was probably the easiest one to come up with.
How does the guy already have a photo in the North show on HLTV.org but hasn't played an official with North yet?
Because
they're a proper organisation. They do PRs.
Send it over.
Yeah, they do like PR and releases, don't they? And do the whole thing.
Well, at least someone's been professional out here. Let's hope that they can actually put up a professional performance. So that would be good.
No,
so
we're even getting pictures with like players who aren't going to officially a part of the team now. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna leave this. I'm just gonna leave this open and not specify because.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I don't know where Sponge saw the picture, but
no, it is on like not the profile, but when
you
you
like search
page. Or if you go to the stats page, it actually works. I'm not sure why it's not.
Okay.
I think it's because of the background. You need to like redo that one. Not sure why that's not.
I think that needs to go through some other people who are
probably
in HLTV.
Probably.
But I think
that is
I'm not really interested about JUGi joining. I'm more interested about valde in-game leading. Yeah. Like JUGi, I think he's a good AWPer. I tried. I was team JUGi for a while there.
Yeah.
Hasn't got a lot done. So I'm just gonna, if he's good, he's good. If he's bad, he's bad. I don't really care. I really just care how valde is gonna perform here, because if he gets worse, I'm gonna be tilted off the face of the fucking earth.
Yeah, you can't actually kill the best.
He is if you got Astralis, then you got valde, then you got everyone else.
Yep.
If he gets worse from this, which I think he won't, because he has such a fantastic work ethic, I'll tell you who I'm fucking looking to go to if I'm old mate, fucking valde. I'm getting on the phone, calling FaZe Clan. If he can even be remotely successful in-game leader here, that's where the fuck I'm going. Just saying. I'm out.
Yeah,
it is a rough ride. Like I admire him taking it on, but I think I agree with the sentiment. Right? You don't want him to just be losing what he had and then maybe never getting back to form, as an example, just because he's stuck fucking IGLing.
The thing is, let's just look at the history of whenever this happened, and like we obviously have one pretty clear example now, which is Nico, who's kind of making it work, but obviously like he's not the in-game leader that FaZe kind of deserve and should have. So look back at the history and then think about how often a star was made the in-game leader and it worked for a team. I can't think of one example at this point. Maybe I'm just I don't know. Maybe I'm just forgetting things, but I don't think this ever worked in the history of Counter-Strike ever.
You have like a Shocks, but that's debatable.
Debatable, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not successful, but he's at the same time not like. I'm
not only talking about like fucking himself up on his individual level, because like obviously Nico can make it work at least most of the time. Obviously he's a little bit more inconsistent than he is usually, but he still has like insane peaks as he's always had. Like he doesn't seem like any worse of an individual player. And we've seen more and more people like that. Yeah, Shocks seems to be another case of that, where he still has the same peaks, the same kind of performance from a tournament to a tournament. But for the team, for that to work for the team and everything like that, I don't think that's ever worked ever.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Like I'm just opened the article, and the first sentence of Valde's statement. I feel that the time has come for me to take on extra responsibilities within the team. Like, why do you feel that is the case? Like,
someone put that idea in his head. Someone just inserted it into his mind and was like, "Valde, you are so good. Why do we not just add more to you?"
It's like you are doing this part over here, which is fragging well, and also like
all of it.
He's not playing all of the like high fragging spots. He's playing like just like anchor on some sites on CT, like some not that good spots, and he's like putting up sick numbers. And then he should also be the in-game leader. Like, what is the logic? That is not sound logic. I know it's just a statement, but still, it triggered me a bit.
I think. Like, they play their first games at the European close qualifier for Cologne, right? So then we'll see their LAN debut when they have to go to Pro League, which is soon as well. So
it's like a week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty quick. And I actually think, like, with Mytho as the coach now, obviously he has a good structure and stuff. And I think Valde is always someone who I've looked at as an individual with a well-regimented kind of life or outlook, right? Like as someone, like, he's always had a good attitude. So I think it could be possible. Like, it might work. It actually might work, because if you can get even like a 70% JUGi going, like, you don't even need the 100% JUGi that I remember when he was on Heroic in the very beginning, just even when he was on Reason, I think it was. You don't even need that level. You just need like a 70% JUGi. I think Gade has impact. I think AZ's been playing better recently. I think Kirby is, stable enough. There's an opportunity here that this thing, it might work, and it can't really get much worse, right? Like, also...
That is true, though. Not even a joke. That is just like, these players cannot magically become like 10 times worse, but the thing is, I feel like they can't become much better magically overnight. It's just like, Valde was the best player, and now if he's certainly gonna be a bit worse. Like, who are the players that are really going to carry this team forward? That is kind of the question for me. I feel like it's lacking overall.
We're kind of hoping for JUGi to step up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because like outside of Valde, obviously nobody has been consistently like a star for the team. Definitely not AZ, because he's been inconsistent. Sure, like these past couple of months he's been looking a lot better. But like, yeah, we don't expect AZ to stay on that level, I don't think. So for them to have the firepower needed to kind of step up, it has to be Valde keeping at least a somewhat similar level to what he has been, and then on top, JUGi playing better than he had in Optic.
Yeah.
I think Kirby also needs to, this will be his thing of, you need to step the fuck back up again as well. Because if we do see any sort of a drop off from Valde, he's got to be able to hang in there.
I mean, we're getting to about a year of most of these players not playing that well. Like, they played well at certain points of their career. JUGi did, Kirby did, AZ did, and like, if we have a year of them not playing that well, their like average is, let's say, a 1.06 rating. That's just like an average player. Yeah. If they hold that for a year, then they are just average players now. We can't really think about them. Oh, the MVP of the major Kirby. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's just like living in the past. And also, someone, just off topic, but someone said something about Hunter, like Valde being the Hunter of Valiance, as in calling. But there was an interview recently with him where, like, with Hunter, that he said something along the lines of, Emmy, the coach of Valiance, actually calling online a lot. So that that is also a kind of stupid situation to put themselves in. But I don't know. I mean, then when you go to a LAN, you're kind of fucked, right?
Yeah, you're not using your practice properly.
I mean,
then, right?
at the same time, you kind of have to think about what's in what state Denmark is at this point. Like, unless you want to go for somebody like Hunden or whatever, like from the lower tier Danish CS, basically. Like, you don't really have that many in-game leaders anymore. Like, obviously Kerrigan has been out of the Danish scene for a long time.
Yep.
And people like that. Heroic have had to put the leadership on Blame F, who is also like another one of those cases where a star was made an in-game leader. Hasn't really been working out so far, really. Outside of like a solid, like an okay performance in Pro League. So that's, I mean, just, like,
it's been working out in the case of where Heroic are and where North are, but it's just like they're so much far apart from each other that it doesn't make sense. It's just like not a discussion to even be had.
But that's the thing. Like, I can't think of like Danish in-game leaders who, unless like you want to bring back MSL or you want to take a chance on Snappy, who's obviously not really proven anything in his time with Optic. Like, ever since he's been part of Heroic. Snappy hasn't really inspired much in anybody.
Funnily enough, Snappy as just a fragger player has been doing okay. Yeah, like he's been one of their better players. Like, what the actual fuck is it? Like, it doesn't make sense.
How did this happen?
It's so fun.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, unless you want to go back to MSL, who, like, you obviously split up with him for a reason. Like, he just didn't really move the team forward in like a 3-4 year period that he's been with them. They always stayed like around, like, at the edge of top 10 at best, or like maybe at the edge of top 5 in their peak for a while. But they were never a team that could like consistently compete for top 4s at every event they went to and stuff like that. So that's obviously a reason why they split up with MSL. So bringing back now, that would be a pretty clear message to me, and to bring Optic Snappy, and that's doesn't seem to be a way forward either. So I can understand why they're kind of forced into this situation. I obviously don't agree with it because it's just never worked, as I said before, but it's just they don't really have that many options to them.
Just to conclude, I'm not that against valde in-game leading, but I just think that it's the rest of the team that need to get their shit together and start doing things, and that is where this team will like live or die.
I just want to see, like, my biggest thing is that a lot of people say is obviously North, they have all the tools they want, right? They've got a great organisation behind them. It's an organisation expecting them to win and move further forward. They're obviously probably being paid very well, things considered. But it's like, this has been a long, Danish taxes as well. We know all about that. But it's a long time since they've done anything where you can say, yeah, okay, this has lived up to expectations, because we've seen them bomb out so many times. So something needs to change, something needs to happen. And also, I've just realised, Lucas, why is my flag like halfway up England? I'm from the south. I'm just from outside London. Where have you just pinpointed my location? It's like some random spot. I'm not from up there, thank you very much. I've only just noticed. I only just seen it.
It's close.
Not close in my eyes. I'm very proud of where I'm from.
Is, right?
Yeah, he's
You're
going
pinned in Leicester.
He's going closer to Leicester. He's killing me off. All right, he's moved it. There you go. That's better. Thank you very much. That's more like it. I feel more at home, feel more fitted. Let's move on to something a bit more major than just where I'm fucking located from this. It is the major updates.
That's self-deprecating humor again. I like that.
We're doing it. We've gone from ego-driven to like just fuck ourselves. Let's go.
Humble.
Yeah. Well,
so the best thing about these major dates is we all have work for 2 more years, so everybody can rejoice. But
I did not think about it that way.
I don't work on the majors, Chads, because fuck people, but I'm in a situation where major dates don't actually matter that much.
Well, it's not really the majors themselves. It's the fact that with the majors
got there,
it's sustainable for 2 more years. At least from a standpoint of that. And I wasn't even worried about that, but this is just guaranteed that, right? So for those who aren't aware, for 2020, it's May 11 to the 24th. And November 2nd to 15th, and then the following year, May 10 to 23, and November 1st to 14. Now, some big questions that I have immediately is, the previous major that we just did was 13 play days, but there was a 2-day break between Challengers and Legends, and a 3-day break between Legends and Champions. which doesn't add up to 13 days, which is the amount of time they've allotted for these windows. Which means that do they want it to be a different format?
No, they specified that as well in that email. It even says it in the article where they basically said that they want to cut down. Well, they want to have more matches or more rounds played, to double stream more rounds than they did before, so that the Swiss format only takes up 4 days instead of 5. So that cuts down already 1 day. Plus, they want to remove one of those media days. So like one stage is going to follow up immediately on the other. I'm not sure which one they're going to cut down. If it's going to be, I'm guessing it's just going to be the one before the playoffs or before the champion stage, whatever. And there's only going to be one before the new challenges and one before the new legends, but whatever. I'm not sure about that. I'm just assuming there. But yeah, they want to cut down on the Swiss stages, which means 2 days are cut there, plus 1 day that's going to be cut from the media days. So that's 3 days. Minus 3 days from what we had before, which should fit into at least close to the 2 week. Well, should fit into the 2 week one. That's 4 days for one Swiss stage. Let's say a media day in between. That's 5 days. 4 days for the second Swiss stage. That's 9 days. Plus we have I assume 4 days for the playoffs.
4, yeah. So it's going to be close. It'll be very, very close in that regard. So that's a positive situation in a couple of ways. I think that the biggest thing it does for all the different tournament organizers out there, for all the teams out there, for all the people who want to work, for all the people who want to go, if you want to go, you know exactly when it's going to be. Maybe you don't know where it's going to be, but you know when. You, as a tournament organizer, will not book over those dates. You'll book around those dates, so we're not going to see any conflicts where you get like a DreamHack Las Vegas who gets absolutely fucked up the ass by E-League when they get the major, by not actually having dates cemented in the calendar. Just let's throw we'll have a major here, and then you win the pitch, and that fucks everybody else. So those kind of things won't happen anymore, which is cool. It also means that first of all, I don't know the amount of times we spoke about major windows on this podcast alone.
Oh yeah,
when it needed to be. But
even before you guys came on the podcast, we talked about like 3 times.
Exactly.
But this is closer to what I think we were looking for, at least closer to what I was looking for. I was hoping for June. November is perfect in my mind. And just to reiterate the reasons for that is I think that it's important to have a buffer period between the end of the major and the player break. There's no point having a major end and going straight into a player break, because then in the player break is when all the roster changes are going to happen. So it's good that there's this buffer period where the roster changes can happen after the major. People can move around rosters, and then when we move into the player break, they can actually take a holiday and not have to worry about any crazy work stuff. For those people who think I have any interest in having a holiday, I don't give a fuck. I will work 365 days a year. So I'm just happy that the players have time off, because those cunts get stressed out or something playing a computer game. But I'm just trying to work out here if there's any downsides, and the downsides are tournaments which are normally in these windows, for example, IEM Sydney, will have to move. That's the only downside. So if you're planning on going to IEM Sydney next year, it's either going to be before or after where it was this year. You'd have to be insane if you're a tournament organizer to schedule within these 13 or this 2 week period, right? You'd have to.
I mean, it's not even these 2 weeks. It's a bit more. Like it has to be a week after, a week before. That has to be empty.
So how's Blast going to do with their 12 events?
I mean, that's a question. That's the question, right? We're going. Yeah.
Maybe they can put one in the start of the week and then one next at the end of the week.
Well, one downside to it, especially for the May one that you were talking about, is the events that follow that are probably going to be delegitimized by the major, just because of how the scene tends to change right after majors a lot of the time. There's no specific window right after a major where people can change, so they will have to do it like during the tournaments or skip tournaments after that to make the changes, or just play tournaments with a dead lineup, which is the issue that I have with it, and why I would have preferred to just go out with a bang every time and to just have it like in December and in July, and then like have the proper like vacation time in August and like at the end of December for Christmas and like start of January basically. So I would have preferred that, but at the same time I kind of understand like the point of why it is how it is now.
There's a looser option though, right? Like that just means that TOs have to loosen up their roster rules, right? Like for example,
that's not what my issue with it is though. I'm just talking about how the
I mean like the level of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of Counter-Strike is going to be played at those events where we know that maybe like 4 to 5, 6, whatever, even half the teams might be changing rosters like right after the tournament. So that's the issue that I have with
But why would they wait? Like teams can just change after the major.
Not wait, but it's still even when they go right into the next tournament, and you know there's going to be a tournament right after the major. Like within 10 days of the major, there's probably going to be another tournament. Yeah. Given what we know about like how many events there could be, like there's going to be an event there, and that just gives the team who's going to change after the major basically no time to prepare for the event, and that just creates the same issue that I was talking about before. A team that's probably not going to be prepared enough to play that tournament. So. Yeah.
Hopefully it's a blast event, so no one will care. Just bagging on Blast because that is very popular with the kids on Reddit.
Seems to be pretty popular at this point.
But like seriously though, if you have like 1 or 2 events with one event with a few dead rosters, and then maybe one roster with a fresh change, like it's not going to be that big of a deal. At least we have the first 5 months where people can actually set their rosters, presuming like it's going to be like shuffle season is going to be as it was 2 years ago in like end of December, start of January. And then we have like ESL Pro League, ECS, stuff like that rolling before the major. And then maybe we get the finals of them like after the major, like right after the major. That's probably what we were going to be seeing in the first half. And the second half, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a bit different. But then like August off, and August being the whole month for like changes and stuff like that. So you have the major and 2 more months max of play after.
But I don't think that's going to happen though at this point, just because of what I outlined. Like that's too much time after the major. Like imagine if it was August, like that's 2 months after the major ends. Like over 2 months after the major ends, the teams they're going to start changing lineups. I don't see that happening.
Do you think the major is that important that people are going to be like as it was before, that is like the make or break? So if they're
I guess it isn't anymore, but it's still like the biggest thing that you want to attend, and most teams will still consider making changes afterwards, after they fuck up a major or something. Like look at what FaZe did at PGL major or whatever, made changes immediately after, and stuff like that just kept happening. Even like more recently, right after majors, they wanted to make changes or they couldn't because of something, or they went into the major with a dead lineup already, so they made changes right afterwards. So that's the problem that I have. It's just like the off season was basically created for multiple reasons. One of which was to have a window where all teams would be able to make changes without like any like limitations and like other events going on, and teams like being limited that way and just like entering tournaments, so they don't want to make changes like 2 days before they have to fly somewhere. So that's the big problem that I have with like the dates that are now.
Yeah, would be. But at the same time, if it was I don't know, end of start of like July, then which would be kind of the perfect time to have the major, then it was just shit on Cologne, because I think that is something that Valve also wanted to avoid, like to avoid these like staple tournaments which exist for like 5 years now.
Well, I mean, at the same time, like if Cologne was the major, that would have been fucking perfect.
But why would you make Cologne a major if it's like legendary?
It doesn't need to really be.
I guess it doesn't need to be, but I guess it's just like gonna ramp it up because it's already proven. I feel like that's the thing. Like I don't think making completely new tournaments majors is a good way to go in that sense. Like I would much rather have something established as a major than a new tournaments. Obviously, like PGL major I guess worked and didn't work. Like it obviously filled, and the audience was there and everything, but there were other issues, and that's kind of why I think like putting new tournaments on like whatever unscouted locations, like untested locations and stuff for a completely new major is not a good way to go either. So I would much rather have Cologne as one.
Do we think that in terms of obviously Blast as an example, right? They'd be a set that are up to do the major, because how they run an event in terms of what it looks like, the production value, blah, 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 is fantastic. So do you think that's something they'd go for, given the fact that most of their events are just, 2 days?
I don't think Blast can run a major.
Oh, really?
I don't think they're allowed to.
Because of the whole Astralis. Right? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
I feel like that would be.
That would make logical sense.
That would make a lot of sense, just
like,
because of how.
I'm honestly just thinking, if they're doing 12 events, they're basically running an event a month, and that means either way they're going to hit the major and they're fucked in some way.
I mean, that thing
probably
that
not at this point because they know what the dates are. Like they're going to move it.
Yeah, hopefully they plan around. That's what I was trying to think though.
It's a year
if
out,
the
man.
information
They're
on
gonna be
there
able to move
says, if it says 12 events, right, then I'm thinking, well, have they got a major? Do they think they're getting a major?
It says 8 to 12, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just give a bit of context. The thing that Banks is the thing that Banks is referring to is Sadok's tweet that he said Blast are planning 9 to 12 events in the next year. But also they planned 6 or 7 events in 2017, more. But they had 3. So it's not guaranteed that they will have that many. It's it's a plan. It's what they kind of want to do, but at the same time, and that is just a unsourced, according to sources by Sadok. So it doesn't need to be exactly correct. Not saying he's lying, but just it's not that Blast came out and said we have 12 events in 2019. It's a bit of a different story.
Yeah, but I mean, if it is 12, it's going to be a clusterfuck of events, and it's just going to be worse than it is now, with people skipping tournaments like Cologne for Blast, which is obviously not great. It's just because of what we were talking about, how established some of these events are and prestigious.
If it is 12 events though, right, one would assume that it wouldn't be the same teams.
They
would have to open it up, right? They'd have to open it up. It'd have to be 12 teams. It couldn't just... I'm not saying 12 teams at every event. I'm saying that they'd probably still have a similar format, but there's no way you could keep it to the same...
Yeah, they can't have their signed teams on it, can they? They have to either open it up or do qualifiers or something.
I mean, they don't have... They can just expand from 7 to 12.
Yeah.
Teams in their league. That's probably... I mean, that is something that they did talk about in that interview that we had with a VP of whatever, something, from Blast. I don't know, VP of something, not marketing. Jordy. Good old Jordy.
Thing is, right, this whole discussion that's going on where everyone's starting to hate on
How could
Blast.
I know that? That's literally a made-up term.
But this whole thing where everyone's starting to hate on Blast, I don't think the hate's necessarily needed in that sense, because I think we had this discussion before, didn't we? And we're about to go into talking about Madrid, but the events themselves, they are entertaining. They serve the purpose they do. We do get some good games, at least when it gets to the grand finals, but I mean, it's
the issue is the prestige, right? Because everybody knows that it's kind of an off tournament. Nobody necessarily cares about especially from the outsider's point of view, I guess. The teams themselves, I imagine, when they win, it obviously means to them as much as it would probably any other.
But when they lose, it doesn't matter as much. Exactly. Of course, when you win, everything is
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to be too bummed out about losing a couple of best of ones. That's the thing. That just takes away so much from the prestige. And for teams to prioritize those events over staples like a Cologne, like a Sydney or whatever, that's obviously a bad thing for the entire scene, because those events are the ones that everybody's going to look at and just draw things from. So that's the issue that
that's my biggest issue as well. Is just I just don't want that whole thing. If Team Liquid miss Cologne, for example, that would suck so bad.
Exactly. Cologne has always been a great event.
Cologne is
skipped it once, 3 years ago or
time.
whatever. It's always a great tournament. It's like we say, it always fills up.
Astralis skipped Cologne because of the major.
Yeah.
That's major. Different.
That is not a comparison.
That makes perfect sense. That's a logical decision.
I just threw it out there just because obviously Cologne has not always had the best teams always, but most of the time they have, and it's always made a great event. So
yeah, and I also like we did talk about Cologne potentially missing Liquid, and that is not yet confirmed, but they haven't been invited. There's only one invite left, and judging on how usually ESL and all of these companies do announce their invites, they would announce Liquid by now. But let's just say they don't show up, they're not going to be coming because they have Blast the next week after Cologne. I do not understand that. I literally do not understand that.
I mean, if
it was Blast first and then Cologne, that you literally have to fly from Blast into an event, then I would kind of understand. But you don't even have to prepare for that Blast event. You just have to play it, right? It's not that important as an event, as we already managed to re-establish that. You have the event before Cologne, you go hard for that, you prepare for that, you play it, and then you fly home. It's LA, it's literally their home. So they have 3 days until the event. Like, why is it such an issue? I mean,
you almost have to assume that it's something contractual, but I mean, I don't want to point to that because like we obviously don't have any.
They're not the only team at Blast LA that is going to be playing at Cologne. Sure. They're surely not.
But I mean, they are the home team though for Blast LA, so they might be like different circumstances around like different teams depending on what the location
Chicago's
is. Because obviously,
later, right?
Sorry.
Chicago is the week after, so. I think so. But for the thing is, for all of these teams, Chicago, for all the teams we're talking about, that will be the last event for them before the major, right? Yep. That will be it.
How many months is that?
We don't know about that. It's just July. Well, it's the end of July, basically, like the second half of July. With 8 teams, though, like we don't. I don't think we assume that to be a massive event.
I'm not saying every team in Chicago. I'm just saying the teams that we care about, right?
Okay.
For example, let's say that NRG went to Chicago, right?
They're
they can't
at the minor, yeah.
So cancel that. That makes no sense. So then, Cloud9 could be a team who's going to be in Chicago, for example. Yeah. Like they won't play. Well, they don't even have a major slot either.
If they can, yeah.
Yeah, holy shit.
We don't know.
Fuck that as well.
It gets wild.
So like,
Liquid has to be there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Liquid is is going to carry that event if they are going there.
So it's just wild to think, right? Like if that's the case, Cologne is the biggest event before the major, and you still have 2 months from Cologne until the major. So it's like what they're going to compete in from that point onwards just feels like lackluster, right? Like, like if you're going just to appease fans, then that's an organizational decision. Like if I am the players in Team Liquid and you get the opportunity, because if this is true, if this is the case, we won't see Team Liquid versus Astralis other than potentially Pro League finals. Are they both in ECS?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have ECS and we have Pro League finals.
Wait, Liquid, but they have to qualify from like the last 2
never mind.
things, so maybe not that.
So the only opportunity would be Pro League finals, which is in the first week of June. So it's not the end of the world, and it's cool that we're not getting the same as last year, which was just them in every single grand final next to each other. But it's also just disappointing because the hiatus between those events is quite an extensive period of time. And if they're the best 2 teams, it just really sucks. Like there's a probability that Navi don't qualify for Pro League finals as well. Ants definitely won't be at Pro League finals because they're not in Pro League. So we're just not going to get all of the best teams in the same event until the major. Like that is 100% the case. If Liquid
between the 2 majors 0 events with the top 5 teams.
It's just it's wild. Like that really sucks because I think that like if it happened once every 3 months, then that wouldn't be too bad. But like that is quite a long lead in time, and then you think if that happens again towards the end of the year, considering how long it's going to be from the Berlin major until the next major, and they have a similar scenes, then that's just fucking wild. Like that's insane how long that could be of a break between those things. So I think all in all,
it's 8 months, isn't it? Then it should be like 8 months.
Yeah, so I get why teams want to skip events and take time off and do all that kind of stuff. I understand it. Like I get it, but there's taking the piss. And then there's like actually taking a break. And if I was like, this is the only way that this makes sense. The events that these teams are choosing to attend, whatever they are, whether it's a ESO, whether it's a DreamHack, whether it's a Blast, it doesn't matter. The people who are benefiting out of this has to actually be the organizer. The organization, right? Like Team Liquid as an organization, or Astralis as an organization. It can't actually be the players because if anything, they're losing ground. Like, because the community looks at it and goes, well, that's shit. Like the community looks at it and blames them. So the people, someone's making money here, right? And that's the only reason that these decisions are happening in this way. So I don't know. It's just the way it is, I suppose. And the community in the past has been able to bully TOs into changing things around. Maybe some things not so good. Like, for example, I think they pushed ESL into a position where ESL do anything to appease the players sometimes. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Like, I think ESL should probably have a little bit more power sometimes. Whether we see what happens right now with the whole Blast situation, if that has any effect on if they change their format or anything along those lines. I guess they're in a different situation because they already have the teams contracted, where ESL didn't have that when the whole Wesser thing was happening, right? Like PEA is another example. They didn't actually get to the stage where they already had their hands on it. They were still trying to get there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the landscape unfolds, but at least they're, like, this is such a shit thing that I'm about to say, but at least there are Counter-Strike tournaments. And that's such a shit thing to say, but like that's one way to look at it.
There's not going to be a lack of CS. It's just the quality of CS so that could definitely be improved with some of these top teams missing, like either Liquid or Astralis, who are pretty much undoubtedly the top two teams at this point.
Yeah.
So for one or the other to be missing almost everywhere, and not have like the continuation of that rivalry and potential for Liquid to finally take that step forward and take down Astralis, for that not to happen like until the major. Sure, it kind of like, I guess it helps the major a little bit just for us to get that culmination, hopefully, because like obviously, as you say, we won't get that duel until the major.
The likelihood of us even getting it at the major, though, is another thing.
That's another thing. Like, unless they meet in the final, we don't know about that.
Yeah. That's something to be a best of 3. I know you guys fucking love best of 3s, but fuck y'all.
Yeah, prof.
Imagine the face of the major.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The face of the major is a pretty good example of that, right? Like we
had
all thought.
Good thing about best of 5s.
What, like the Sydney one we just saw, for example?
Yeah, the great example. So good, but I talked to Twist, and he said like, I asked him about best of 5s. He said like, it's a true test of like who's the better team. But then in the same interview, he says it's better that we lost Dust2 16-6 because then we saved energy. Like how can a competitive format, how can it be good for you to lose quickly? That it literally is counterintuitive.
I think you just wrote that in, mate, just for your own self-glory.
The thing is, like, that's hindsight. That's also hindsight. So though, that's something that you also have to consider. Like he wouldn't feel that way if they're making a comeback on Dust2. Like he would still be in that game. Yeah. And the game would have been great because of that. So it's not like that happens like in the middle of the series that they just suddenly lose energy. Like they're still going to be there. It's just like in hindsight, it might have helped them, and maybe he thinks that way. But I don't think it would have affected the series if quite the opposite. Actually, I feel like if Dust2 was a little bit more closely contested, would have been much more exciting.
So you're saying that Twist knows more than you. Like you know more than Twist.
Okay.
Who was it?
We're not having this discussion now, boys, because we're running out of time. You know what we need to do? We need to get on to our Blast Pro Series Madrid discussion. So we'll bring up best of 5 versus best of 3 in maybe a Striker versus Prof unique way of doing it. And you can revisit that, because I'm sure this would get interesting once again. But I am going to skip us ahead. So we're going to be doing a fantasy, like our usual fantasy show that we normally do. We'll also just discuss what we potentially think is going to happen here and just everything that is coming in. So now this is the first Blast Pro Series event where we're going to get a team come in who's like a home crowd team that's probably going to get shown, right? And
I'd be surprised. The real question, there's only one question here to ask about this.
Can they beat Cloud9?
Is Cloud9 going to be that much of a dumpster's fire that they lose to either Giants or Movistar Riders? And there's a high probability.
Okay, I saw Movistar Riders. I saw them, and they don't look bad. They play pretty fucking.
They don't look good. They definitely don't look good.
No, but if you compare them to Cloud9, I'm giving fucking the hungriness them that little bit of chance to say you probably could take them on a best of 1.
Look, as much as I dislike what's been happening in Cloud9 for the past year, I don't think that's gonna happen, right?
That should have been your first bet on your ticket, lads. It should have been random playing team. Because they're not chosen yet. We're not chosen.
Those matches don't exist yet.
There's no way Giants have beaten Movistar Riders in the best of 3.
I hear there is a chance.
Really?
Spanish sources saying that on LAN. No, I'm not gonna.
Not gonna name names.
Not gonna name names. Not gonna name names. But I have a lot of Spanish sources because the Balkans and Spain, we have a long-lasting relationship in CS. We had some players going over to Spain and shit like that.
If it happens, fair enough. But I think Movistar's going to go all the way, and then I think they're going to take a game from Cloud9, probably try and make it competitive against the other teams that really struggle.
The youngest player in Giants is 25.
Fuck.
Really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're
That's mad.
It inspires me. Maybe I can play again.
No, Chad, let's not do it. You're doing well right now.
It's sponsored by one of the biggest phone companies in the entire world. Probably just get paid to fucking play some shitty fucking Mountain Dew league. Huh?
Go make yourself a new Australian team and get sponsored by the biggest provider in Australia.
Still fucking trying to spin narratives about terrorism from fucking video games. Dumb cunt fucking Australian media. Channel 9, fuck you.
We have it here as well.
Anyway.
Did they do a new one after Sydney this year?
So, like, I don't understand
Here we go.
why they do a news report after the event, right? Like, if I'm anybody, I'm not doing that shit. It doesn't help me sell tickets. What am I doing? Oh, look, video games, people getting paid. Fuck off. Go back in your fucking box and write your news stories about a grandma losing her kitten or some bullshit, because you can stay away from video games, you fucking cunts. We've been doing this now for longer. I want to do a live television interview with some fucking Carl Stefanovic or some dickhead from Australia and have them like pull out
I'm sure that would go so well.
I would love to have them like pull out some nerd comment just for me to strip the cunt live on air. I would destroy them. It wouldn't even be, they would have to cut. They'd have to be pressing that fucking red button, get this cunt off. They'd have to run to an ad break.
That's also Chad banging their heads against the table at the same time, that noise.
Yeah. The problem with that, Chad, absolutely is like half of that duel would have to be bleeped out because
because you just be like, you dumb cunt.
No, I would keep it. I'm so good at like pretending to be calm. I could just keep it, and I would just like, and he'd make some dumb cunt comment, and I'd just keep destroying, and they'd like, oh, what about the just fucking keep hammering.
I'm not sure about this pretending to be calm thing, man. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
National
I haven't seen you. I haven't. Look, maybe you're just so good that I just don't see it. Maybe you're right.
Well, he does it on broadcast.
Find me an example of me swearing on broadcast.
Yeah, Chad has always kept it clean on broadcast.
Fair enough.
It's just when we get on this show, it all comes out.
You're put on the spot on broadcast by your peers or whatever. Like you're not talking shit with like another analyst. You're just like trying to make points about the game, and not like argue between each other. But that's obviously a different scenario to what you would be putting or going up against in a duel like that.
Oh yeah, so but I take the same level of notes, so you'd see my notebook and my pen, and we'd be ready to raring.
I just want to see it. Like I'm
so down for that. We need to get back onto Blast, though, boys. We need
clip this. Tag Channel 9. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Can we do it simultaneously? Can we draft as we talk about it?
Yeah, is that possible? Let's do it. Lucas, is it possible, my dude?
We just need to create the league, though.
We just need to get the league going, but like.
So there's only 4 teams attending this event, in my opinion.
Yep. I'm down.
Sorry?
There's only 4 teams attending Blast, in my opinion. Ninjas in Pajamas, Na'Vi, and Sinistralis. The other 2 are there just to make up the numbers, so that's pretty exciting. I think that it's not. I'm not like, I don't know. Blade's here. Okay, Blade's here. So I've seen Blade. We shook hands. Blade and I always exchange pleasantries. So Na'Vi are going to win.
Blade is the genius.
Okay.
I'm all behind the Blade train.
I'm in.
I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely curious about like whether Blade's going to be any any real effect on this team. Because like we know that he's going to like create a structure and stuff like that, or try to create a structure, but I don't know like what that entails, you know. How much will he have a say on what the team does and stuff like that? I'm not sure.
I haven't seen him play in 1,000 years. Give or take.
They've lost a couple online games.
Give me a good name. I'm running out of ideas. Because obviously my previous names have not worked out, so I'm just trying to figure out.
You gotta get a new name just to have it in there.
Exactly. Like that's the same as like changing crosshairs in Counter-Strike and stuff, you know.
Here's Ence's last 2 results. So they played Star Series against Na'Vi.
I see this
on April 6th, and then they played May 3rd against Movie Star Riders, and they lost 16-14 on Nuke in Mountain Dew League. And then they played Vitality in Mountain Dew League on Nuke, and they lost 16-13 on May 4th. So they've only played 2 matches since Star Series Season 7, like 2 officials.
Jesus. Literally a month without anything as these like 2 online games. But yeah,
Navi
as I said,
actually might be
1,000
worse.
years.
Navi's might be worse than that, right?
Navi played Pro League though.
Yeah, but they've also only played. They played 9 maps since. Oh no, wait, they played They played Miami as well. Yeah, they've done a bunch.
Yeah.
Navi, you're good. I'm in.
I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, you can see the pick ordering that everybody's connected. I just realized we're 5
Oh yeah,
points
Banks
exactly,
isn't in and Strike is not in.
I was in.
Open the games, but
I've got it here. It says draft starts
I
in
can
20
see.
seconds.
Exactly, draft starts in 17, 16.
Well, when you guys aren't
I've
drafting
got
players,
J-Nups, I've got Prof, I've got me, I've got Lucas.
I can see like in the pick order that
I can't
everybody's
see a
connected.
striker.
okay.
Oh yeah, refresh. There we go.
It's you fuckers, come on.
I don't even give a fuck.
I went in last, that's why.
So
Probably.
obviously it's gonna be again just like the rush to get Astralis players.
Banks is done first.
Of course, I'm fucking last.
Banks
again.
first again. And this is,
yeah.
we have the like noob mode on to help them out. First pick every time.
Fuck you.
I'm last pick for the
This
time
one's
in a row.
surely a no-brainer here.
Yeah. Just getting Astralis players. Fuck.
Ah!
Well, Lucas, hurry up.
What? You think you were gonna get simple there, Prof? Is that why you went fuck?
No, I was trying to just fuck you to like.
Don't
get
worry,
some...
I'm not dumb like you. I make my own decisions. I'm not put under pressure, motherfucker. I'm all in on this.
Except that one time when you picked someone.
Yeah, but that's because I had fucking 5 seconds. I didn't realize the timer was counting down.
Oh, what am I, the last?
Lucas gone?
Second last.
Just fuck you. Seriously.
Amazing.
Like, you've literally picked like I know who Prob's gonna pick now, and he's gonna fuck me because like I'm just gonna have to go into like.
Yeah, but you can get 2
good
Astralis players. You can get
Look,
2
I can
Astralis
still
players.
get I can get 2 Astralis players, but then again, Glaive hasn't been looking great. You know, his effect is also a little bit falling off. Like I'm not gonna get like a sure thing, you know.
There's no such thing as a sure thing.
Problem for me is there'll be no Astralis players when I come back around.
Prof also gets 2 Astralis players.
Oh yeah, potentially if he wants
Easy
to.
pickings. Easy pickings. I'm trying to also do my food order at the same time as this. Just so we're out here.
Can't wait.
I mean, there's no other way I can do this, honestly.
Now this is the question. Like Glaive hasn't been that amazing.
If you don't pick Glaive, I'm picking Glaive. So just fucking make up your mind.
I mean, obviously, but 3-time major winner. Ah, fuck it.
And all of the Astralis are gone within a
Yeah, that's
one
it.
and a half-
Instant.
1.5 drafts.
Sponge is like, Astralis, please suck. Your Sponge is doubling down on the thing he said before about Astralis choking due to the pressure.
I Sergey. I missed that completely.
Quick around these parts.
Yeah, this dick is getting 2 whoppers. Thank you for ruining our fucking role selection.
We have to go through
We have to use every player. So
That is gonna be
Yeah.
amazing.
This is gonna be fun.
That's gonna get rough. And I'm fucking last, of course. Like I'm not even gonna get.
Oh, I got a
Two
second
Astralis
pick.
players. Your
I got
team's
a
not
second
bad.
pick. What
Your
the
team's
fuck?
not bad.
I did not realize I got second pick. Here we go. This is interesting. All right, cool.
Like, if I was...
I was not prepared.
There's 2 names here who are really up for debate. And Lucas has just been an absolute plank of wood, giving me 2 options now to pick from. Either get Automatic or Forest.
You're not gonna get your boy. Okay, never mind.
You getting Forest?
I was pretty sure he was gonna pick Rez, but okay.
Forest has been very consistent, though.
That's true. It's more of a sure thing, I guess.
But I know my luck. This will be
I'm
where
literally
fucking
just
simple bombs out.
auto-picking the whole team.
This is the problem with blast events. It really gives us no fun.
Auto-picking, automatic.
No, this is going to be fun. You wait till we get to the last round. That's when we're going to have some real fun.
Look, I'm not gonna get like a chance there. So like whatever. What the fuck? Like I'm just gonna get whatever is left. So I don't even care about the last round.
It's
honestly.
gonna be like, this is your last chance to actually make a difference.
You can still get 2 good players here. Like you are in a really good position still.
Yeah.
I mean, I that's what I'm thinking here.
Your team actually might be the best team.
For this one, being in the middle was better than being first or last.
Well, no, because you have Simple,
Yeah.
the best
Okay,
player in the world.
other than simple. when you look at it, because what I'm gonna have to pick with at the end is shit. Literal dead weight.
I mean, we all will. I don't know
what
what your
pick will be Striker's pick.
Why?
Dennis actually played decent.
Because I'm last picking as the 5th round.
In Sydney.
We're
So.
starting round 4 now, so you're gonna end it and then start it again. And
Yeah. Oh, okay, that benefits me then. Oh, I'm not so too salty.
That's what I'm saying. Like being 5th in a 5-round game is really bad. Like I'm just not gonna get a chance.
Yeah.
Dream.
Like if it was a 16-team event, then it's fine. Like you can get some decent players still, but this is gonna be.
I have a pretty alright team though. Considering I'm pretty happy.
Yeah,
Or you're getting
Whatever I'm left with, like it's not gonna be a good pick.
He locked in Lekro.
You know, if you guys leave Zeus, I'm taking my boy. I'm just going for a full Navi stack. Here we go.
I mean, you are.
You probably should though.
Out of these options, like.
So I mean, I've got what?
I only see
KGB,
one potentially.
Rush, Vice, Golden. If Get Right decides to show up like
I mean, I know who I'm going to be left with, so it doesn't even matter.
I have 2 pink banks, so you have to pick 2 anyway.
I just know I just know.
Alright, cool. Give me my next fucking pick. Because you know I got no Cloud9 players, so I'm definitely doing better than half of you.
Like automatic is gonna do well.
Literally 4 Cloud9 players left.
Lucas just picked Golden. He just picked Golden.
I was sure I was gonna give you left with Golden. I was 100% sure.
Jesus.
So I'm gonna be left with Vice. Okay.
Like I'm
gonna be left with Vice. Like that's obvious.
Look,
this is twice Striker's advice.
Yeah.
Who got Cajuns? Yeah, it makes sense. Chad got him.
Fuck this sound.
I'm loving mine. I'm loving mine. I'll take this. Navi in the finals. We've got fucking Blade there finally, and they topple the Stratless.
I'm pretty alright with my team, honestly. I'm pretty happy. I'm happier than last time when I well, actually, no, never mind. I auto-picked automatic who actually
Sign rolls, let's go.
Not bad.
Mate, there's so many good rolls you can just pick for simple straight off the bat. He'd literally just be God. He'd be fine.
I mean, yeah. Since you have like 3 Navi players, just put...
I've got everything.
Remember to assign roles. Yeah, that's going to be...
Yeah, the roles are important.
Actually going main op and automatic. Like he's been upping quite a lot. But it's not like a Fallen or a Guardian where you get like 10 points every time. That is pretty sick. But
that's the only part that I'm kind of like not liking too much about my team. I basically don't have an opper.
Yeah. I mean, rather not have one than have a shitty one. Like I mean, NIP doesn't have anyone that's
that's true.
That's worth an opper roll.
Lucas grabs 2 oppers. 2 other teams don't even have an opper.
Classic. It is classic.
Prof had a good team before Rush. I literally had the pick of Rush or Vice. So it's like...
Yeah, your decision made sense.
Like Rush was the MVP of the E-League Season 2 finals. So...
Chad, who's on
Vice,
your roster?
But Vice wasn't. So that's the pick.
Who's Chad got?
I have Electronic, Sergey, Forrest, Lekro, and Cajun B.
Ooh, it's not too bad. That's not too bad.
I don't know. Like, I really don't know. It's gonna be tough.
Fuck it. Alright, anything for us to discuss a little bit further in depth on the whole Madrid side of things? We covered obviously that Movistar's probably gonna be the likely ones to be in it. Do we expect a Navi Astralis final? Could Ents or Nip come in and
I think it's Navi.
Up?
I think it's more Navi versus Ents, and then Nip just being like the placeholder decent team there. I mean, they have an outside
probably
chance.
Going to turn into the same thing as we saw in Miami
or Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo.
Oh, Sao Paulo. Yeah, that's it.
Ents Liquid.
Where Ents Liquid obviously tied.
They played the first game, so that's the thing, right? We're not going to know the gravitas of that situation. It's going to be an Ents versus NIP grand final.
What the fuck?
Those are the players
He's
has
going
on
for
his
it
team,
again.
so.
He just wants people to clip it, and then when it just miraculously happens because like Australis plane doesn't turn up or some shit like that.
If you just say really dumb shit with conviction, eventually something's gonna be right, and then
you look like a genius.
You know who that is reminiscent of, though?
Jesus Christ, our one true savior.
I'm more thinking about towards
Well, he
the
doesn't
west,
exist, so
across the ocean. The most
Trump.
yes.
Yeah, well,
What
look, he's the president of the United motherfucking States. If it works for that guy, it's gonna work for me.
Chad's gonna next become the president
Also
of the United States and get all the
Right now,
visas
with that
sorted and
statement,
approved.
You represent everything that is currently wrong with the world.
Nah, there's a lot more.
Okay, I mean
Yeah,
terrorism.
we can get on to stuff.
Ecology.
I
Ecology is
told all
fine.
these dumb cunts out there the money system was dumb from the get-go, and now they're all realizing, oh, it doesn't it rewards the losing team. Yes, you fucking.
But wait a
muppets.
second,
let's
you
just
could
see
go
that
back on the show
with
and clip that
basic
you did
maths.
that.
You could see that with simple maths. You just have to look at the structure, and you have to understand the way that numbers work. It doesn't take a fucking genius. You don't even need to see how it plays out in Counter-Strike to realize it's bad. You can just look at it. Plain as that. Some cunt tweeted at me, and he was like, oh, but we need to see how it played out. You don't need to see how numbers play out, bro. Numbers are actually one of the fucking things that we can predict how it's going to play out, because it's fucking numbers.
Like, there is something about CS fans in general. Like, everything, we have to see how it plays out. Like, literally, can we get some conclusions? Just like, can we use our brains as analysts, as writers, or some shit? Of course, we're not saying this is 100% what is going to happen. But, like, these are the factors. These are the parameters. We know this and this. This is why we think this could happen, or it's likely to happen. And then, okay, we will see, will it happen? But we have some good like ways of thinking, and we can really convictionally say, this is likely to happen. Like, you say that, it's like, no, we have to see how it plays out. Ends Major was the fluke, by the way.
You know what I think we do? Here's what I think we do. I think what we should do is in all the democratic countries around the world, we should like bring in communism, and we should see how that goes. Like, we should just try it out for a little while. See how communism goes.
I don't know if you
Maybe
have
give it a
communism
chance.
in your country, but I have, and my history doesn't really prove
but
that it
we haven't
works.
tried it in Australia, so we
Your
don't know
problem
if
was
it's good or not.
You were under Russia. Like, we had our own Yugoslavian communism where we were on our own. It was sick. Facts. I literally was born after it ended, but it doesn't matter.
Same.
Oh,
Literally, like 4 years
God.
after.
Oh, dear God. We've taken a massive degenerate turn on this, lads. We
In this episode, we have mentioned communism and Trump within five minutes.
Yeah, but I really just think we should give it a try. Like, I think that, we should really just give it a try and see what happens, because there's no way we can possibly know what
The thing is, like, it looks good on paper, right? Like, the actual idea is really nice, but it just doesn't work in practice, does it?
Let's just try some fucking communism. It's the same as just assuming this money change is just as good.
Can somebody clip that, please? Just try.
Just try communism.
Oh, dear.
I think this episode is over. Like,
You have to try everything
we are
once. You
there.
know what they say.
Exactly.
it's true.
Boys, I think that is us over and done with before it derails further than what we could ever come back to. I'd like to have a career at the end of it.
I don't know about that, man.
Are we ending this show? Like, what are we doing here anymore?
Yeah. We've just gone off some massive thing. All right, I'm gonna go to all of you. Winning blast this time around. Who's got it? Start with you, Prof.
Australis.
Striker.
Australis.
And you know why?
Oh, here we go. Oh,
Because
okay.
they have a red star. And that is a sign of communism.
Sponge, where you going in your insanity?
Ants over ninjas in pajamas.
That's what I was thinking.
All
yeah.
three maps.
Okay, you knew it.
All the rounds.
the overtimes, all the rounds. I'm saying Australis Navi final. Blades there means Navi wins. Let's go fucking see you on the next episode, boys. When is the next episode, actually? We got a date plan for this, or are we working
Probably
around
Sunday,
mad schedules?
Did we say?
Maybe Sunday.
Sunday,
Maybe
soft,
Sunday.
soft
A
announcement.
soft Sunday, yeah.
No, well, producer Lucas is saying no, so
In the
he's not here. It's
meantime,
definitely
yeah.
happening.
The producer is going, no.
Oh, we're
Producer's
firing
going,
him anyway.
no, I have school. No, my life's going to be over. No.
On Sunday, I don't
School
know.
on Sunday evening school. Class.
No, to get up in the morning, you dick.
probably has it tomorrow as well. I don't know what day it is though. But
all right, let's leave before all our viewers leave.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, guys, it's been a lot of fun. We'll keep you updated on when the next episode will be up. We'll have the VODs up as well on YouTube. Chad, you've got it on the audio platform as well if people just want to listen to it without video. Anchor.fm. Obviously, it'll be on the Twitch VODs as always. So you can catch up with anything you may have missed if you're just tuning in. But join us for the next episode, whenever it may be. And also follow at HLTV Confirmed on Twitter, because that's where you get all the information, all the juicy memes, and all the clips of Chad breaking down. We'll see you next time.
Try communism.